10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Invoker. Seconds remaining.
Finger.
Choose your hero.
Да, делает она очень-очень больно в спектре, поэтому...
这种压力上失误特别多。
One game away from potentially taking that championship spot. Insane. We heard from the panel there during the draft. They were they predicted it perfectly, this Tinker pick, and they were excited to see it. Could this be what allows Psg.Lgd to maybe turn the tides and get the momentum back under their grasps in this series?
I mean, I absolutely think so. Out of all the drafts that we've seen from them, this feels the most LGD. I felt like in the last game, they didn't really have a way to fight. I feel like LGD's like proven we're one of the best teams at you, and if last week they just didn't have a chance to do it. So I really like this draft from them, and I think they have a way to, you know, battle out against Spirit. But at the same time, I see a way for Spirit to deal with a Tinker. I don't think it's an uncountered Tinker. I just think of the way 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 plays. I could easily see him, you know, get on top of the Tinker and pick him off in a fight, come in from the sides with Meld, and, you know, read the movement correctly. So one of the themes for me about Team Spirit victories has been vision, and vision is the best way to deal with Tinker. This hero abuses vision better than most heroes, so I think the vision war that's going to happen between Spirit and LGD is going to be really interesting.
Already going to see both teams head to head it. Any sort of catch from either of them. White going to try and hide in the pit. Already the rocket's starting to come out for nothing to say. As Team Spirit, they will back up in either side, able to get the grab that they wanted to potentially get that first blood. But let's see, as you say, definite potential here for Psg.Lgd and their lineup. But as we've seen so far, 2 games in which Team Spirit have looked to be completely in their comfort zone. And it does seem the pressure, it's certainly more so there for Psg.Lgd in this series.
Yeah, I absolutely think so, and I agree with something NoTail said, where like if this game starts looking bad, if the early game doesn't really go their way, I could easily see some potential crumbling coming out from LGD, but I feel like they have the makings of a good draft. You know, when I look at it objectively, if this was like a first game of the series, I haven't seen either of these 2 teams play, I would have favored LGD's draft. I like what they're coming into this game with. They're setting up strong lanes, and they have Tinker to like kind of provide the damage for later team fights.
One thing though to me that sort of stands out looking at the lineup of Psg.Lgd, whilst they've definitely got a lot of heroes to create that vision, set up for the Tinker to go crazy in the team fight, sort of similar to, I believe, the Game 1 draft, there's not a lot of stuns.
Yep, you're right about that, and I think the idea here for them is that you're not really going to be committing into fights. You're not jumping a hero and then just trying to stun him and lock him down and chase him down. You're rather trying to burst somebody really quick and then resetting out. So the idea of using Rupture and then dropping Tombstone is going to be their key way of team fighting, and then you're going to use Rubik primarily for counter initiation. So when somebody comes into your backline, or when somebody chases down the Bloodseeker, that's when you'll see the Rubik coming with lift. That's when he's going to come in with a clutch tornado or something along those lines.
Let's see how these lanes end up panning out here in the early game. 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 on his PA, as we said. This time a hero that he has already pulled out on the main stage.
I love this from 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼. If we take a look at the bottom lane, he's so good at doing this. As soon as you see 𝙎𝙊𝘾 run for this block on the small camp, he doesn't care if he misses a creep or two. Just immediately runs over, make sure they get that pressure. 𝙎𝙊𝘾's immediately forces TP out. So that's mana. That's a Fade Bolt that he's not going to be able to use on them. Plus he doesn't have a TP. So just really nice gameplay from 𝙎𝙁𝘾, helping out his position 5 player win these trades.
Even stepping up there, trying to get connection onto 𝙎𝙊𝘾, but smartly keeping his distance. We'll have to watch out when the level 2s are hit. I mean, this lane in general, when you see the Bloodseeker Rubik, do you feel that that is a lane that the PA can struggle against, or is it not too bad?
I think it's the kind of lane where they can kill the Rubik. Oh, and here we go. This might be first blood.
They're going to try. They get in the Thunderstrikes there, 𝙎𝙁𝘾. First blood for him down in this lane. The trades favoring them here between the supports.
Yeah, so if you think about how the lane is structured, Bloodseeker Rubik, they want to slowly like harass you out of the lane. And if you think about Disruptor PA, it's a similar story. But Disruptor PA have kill threat on Rubik because the silence from Bloodseeker is so slow that he can't really save his Rubik if they go on him.
My goodness, look at this aggression in mid. Toronto Tokyo really building back, nothing to say.
Yeah. He does have his bottle though, and the water runes are up, so he should easily be able to run to the top one and pick it up for himself. Yeah, up top, Collapse is taking a lot of pressure here from the Spectre Undying. I think the Spectre Undying is an interesting lane because you won't really see the Spectre connecting as much as the PA is to his carry and helping him, but he'll provide the vision from the dagger. There'll always be that slow that enables Undying to get more hits in.
Sure, and you feel it's unlikely for the Mag and the Willow to ever really get on top of the Spectre in the lane?
I think, so the idea for the top lane is that the Undying's going to tank a lot of damage. He's going to be in your face. You're going to have to be hitting the Undying and dealing with his mana for the first portion of the game, and that will lead the Spectre to get a lot of farm for free. However, the Undying has an issue because he runs out of mana at some point and he runs out of healing. And usually when he does that, he's forced to reset back, and then Spectre can take some pressure. But so far, it seems like Y is doing a good job. He's just blocking out these camps, providing vision. But you see this, Mira's immediately on top of de-warding the ward. He reads it perfectly.
Yeah, knew exactly where he was heading. Right, we'll go for the quick trip back to base here. I see mid. Toronto Tokyo is going to have to take the walk back, so a bit of space given to nothing to say as he is starting to get ahead in this matchup, getting a good few denies in against the Invoker.
Yep, and the Invoker's going to lose a full creep over experience here, plus the bottle refill from Y. This is great gameplay from 𝙎𝙁𝘾, and I think this looks characteristic 𝙎𝙁𝘾, right? You expect to see them do these things where they're optimizing everything that's happening. Y runs in, drops a ward, denies himself the tower, blocks the Ancients, TP's mid, refills the bottle for nothing to say. This doesn't look like a phase team to me, you know? We were a little bit worried that maybe they're going to be feeling a little bit of tilt or pressure, but the way they're playing right now, looks like their head's in the game.
A solid start on the lane so far. Toronto Tokyo, he wants to try and play for the 4-minute rune, but won't manage to do so. Extra backup was on its way over for Psg.Lgd to keep control of that.
Yeah, so you notice both 4s are rotating for the runes, right? And in this situation, the Bloodseeker's pretty fine bottom. He can't really be harassed out of the lane because of how the Thirst functions, and he just keeps regaining HP for every last set that he gets. Meanwhile, the Mag up top, who's laning against the Undying, runs into this impossible block where he can't really rock up to the lane and get gold. And I think as long as they play this rune game where they force the position 4 in Mira to rotate towards the middle lane, 𝙎𝙁𝘾's going to come out with a little bit of an edge out of the laning phase.
Right, their core's definitely looking comfortable so far.
Yep. You see 𝙎𝙁𝘾 rotating over mid, setting up vision. There's so much vision around this middle lane for the Dire side. They don't want the Sinker to go down.
Yeah, almost impossible to close in on nothing to say with this sort of setup from the team. It's going to ensure that he does get this good start.
Yep, absolutely. And if you take a look at the CS, you notice the Invoker's really falling behind. The Tinker almost has as many denies as the Invoker has last set. So, like NoTail and Seb mentioned, right, this is one of the best Tinker players in the entire world, and he's living up to that praise that he received on the panel.
But would you imagine that, even though it did get through as the last pick, do you think it was something that Team Spirit would have had in mind? They knew that this was going to be, you know, there was potential of this coming up as the last pick for Psg.Lgd.
If I'm being honest, I don't feel like they really addressed the Tinker in their draft. I think this Invoker was more like this is what we're going to go with, as 𝙎𝙁𝘾's in trouble.
They're going to try and chase him down. He does get the kinetic field off. 𝙎𝙁𝘾 tries to turn towards 𝙎𝙀𝘾, but the backup's there from Y. He's trying to commit 𝙎𝙁𝘾, but can he get the kill in time? But stick charges, 𝙎𝙁𝘾's going to try and run him down, but 𝙎𝙀𝘾 is out to the side. 𝙎𝙁𝘾's not got the further vision. He is going to be able to jump out of the Blood Bright, though, over to the creep wave.
The zombie gives vision.
See if they can chase him under the tower. They can't. Oh, they can! Oh, they get him!
The zombie vision.
They still manage to see him there as 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 reaches in with a hard-hitting fade bolt.
Actually, I do believe that was a thirst vision.
And now 𝙈𝙀𝘶𝑗. I mean, this is going to be potentially another one. Could they get him as well?
There's no
under
man
the
on the
tower.
Rubik, but he has boots.
I mean, for this, he has taken quite a few times here. Toronto Tokyo will TP over 𝙎𝙬𝘾𝙄𝘼. He'll get punished for this dive. See if Toronto Tokyo can find anything more here. Why still under the tower? No TP, no mana. So they do dive in to get an extra kill on the Disruptor 𝙈𝙀𝘶𝑗, but they lose 2 heroes for it. Toronto Tokyo, pretty nice kills for him as well, considering the slower start he was having in comparison to nothing to say in the mid. So being able to make that move and pick up 2 kills on the Invoker, that's going to get his early game back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. But we touched on this in the VP versus Team Spirit draft, how it's very important that you get earn charges on the Invoker, right? This is what enables the Invoker to play his game and be faster on the map. Unfortunately, he has not yet bought his earn, so despite getting these 2 kills, he doesn't fulfill the objective of getting 2 earn charges in the early game. So while it is good for them, it also has its drawbacks, and this is in large part due to how well Nothing to Say played his lane out.
There's been a lot less focus now around top as Collapse happily farming here in the lane against 𝙈𝙀𝘶, getting just as much as the Spectre. And that's got to be, after Game 2's performance, probably something to fear if you're Psg.Lgd. Collapse, I believe, ending 2-0 and 20 in Game 2 on his back.
Yeah, absolutely. Middle lane, Nothing to Say is getting pressured. But you see here what Seb and NoTail talked about. They don't really have the damage to punish him. They don't have the tools to really kill him. The Invoker is good at catching him, but he's not a hero that can stay on top of him and keep outputting damage, because as soon as you've used your spells, that's kind of all you have in the tank. And in the bottom lane, you notice here how 𝙎𝙁𝑘𝑟 doesn't feel as safe sitting on the lane. When the wave is pushed out, he's forced to move away from there because the Rupture is up now and they have the ability to go on him. You can look at Team Spirit's positioning. They're expecting something to happen down here.
They certainly are. 𝙎𝙁𝑘𝑟 just trying to farm with the dagger from the blur.
Invoker's resetting back on the lane as well in the middle lane to set up for a potential TP.
Let's see if 𝙎𝙬𝘾 and faithByHam feel that they can strike. They're being careful. They know that a reaction will come out if they decide to try and dive in on 𝙎𝙁𝑘𝑟, so they won't fall for it.
But yeah, so far you notice as soon as the wave goes out of his tower, he's forced off. And Spectre's just comfortably sitting top. He knows that he can lane against the mag at this point and doesn't really feel the pressure. However, you know, despite all of this, Spirit does have a slight gold lead all around.
Incredibly close though. Psg.Lgd, they're bringing extra numbers down bottom white. Join them to dive in for 𝙎𝙁𝑘𝑟. They commit with the Rupture here. Horn over as well. They're in onto the PA. 𝙎𝙁𝑘𝑟 will fall. See if they can get 𝙈𝙀𝘶𝑗 as well with the 4 of them and the tombstone down. They certainly can. The pressure amounts from Psg.Lgd down this bottom lane. They know that they can get in and get away with this, especially with the global backup of armor.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the strengths of Undying in the early game, because once you place that tombstone, the enemy team doesn't really want to TP in. They couldn't really respond with their heroes if they wanted to. Mirror started his TP, but immediately canceled it, recognizing that, you know what, I can't TP into the tombstone. It's not going to be a good fight for me.
See Collapse trying to play around with 𝙎𝙬𝘾. They do have further members coming up. Team Spirit off the back of those deaths down bottom. You know, 𝙎𝙁𝑘𝑟, he'll move himself up to the top half of the map to farm up here. Tier 1 tower will be lost. Psg.Lgd with an early objective.
It's under attack.
Yep, they're just evening out the map, swapping sides here. You see even a scan going out on the trees, making sure that nothing's here setting up. And one of the best ways to deal with Tinker is that you want to try to get these early towers, because Tinker abuses the towers on the map in order to fight. It provides him with safety, a place that he can TP to, come in and out, use all of his mana, go back to base, do it again. So it's important for Team Spirit to try to get the towers early, because once Tinker comes online, it's going to be very difficult for them to do it.
Let's see where they look to head over next. Spirit staying together. I'll take some of the jungle away from Psg.Lgd.
Yep, so Tinker just finished up the blink. This is going to be their first timing to fight. You have Rupture up. Look for that Rupture into Tombstone combination once more, with a Tinker TPing in and dropping lasers and rockets.
We'll have to be done without the Horn. That's still out for about 80 seconds.
It looks like they're playing it patient. They don't feel rushed to make this move yet. And this is another of the nice parts about Undying. Unlike most 5s, he has the ability to farm jungle camps quite easily, because he just drops a tombstone, and the tombstone deals damage over time and spawns all these zombies that allow him to farm these camps and get some extra gold. So he's closing in on a 6.
𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼, the spacers here, clearing up the stacks, keeping his farm on par with that of 𝙈𝘀𝘿. Having an equally good time, of course, building straight into the stats right now. 𝙈𝙾𝘿𝘄𝘼 into the S&Y, he has the buff up with the Empower.
Yep. As soon as that Empower runs out, look at Collapse, he immediately runs over. And this goes back to what Seb talked about, right? This game is more about the Empower. They're not playing around the Skewer in the same way that they were in the previous games. Has a smoke coming down bottom.
So if the three members of Spirit can find some action, they do have 6 on the supports. The Static Storm and the Fear ready to play with. Psg.Lgd, they're doing a great job of avoiding this. 𝙈𝘀𝘿 is down here on his own.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, it looks like they're waiting for the haunt, but 𝙈𝘿𝘿 is about to get caught. Spirit have sniffed him out.
Let's see if the 3 have the damage. Try and set up with the root, but not going to get the connection. The glimpse back is there into the Static Storm. TPs are coming over. 𝙈𝘿𝘿, is he tanky enough to live through the Static Storm? He's still alive, and in fact he's able to turn the Tornado. Does catch him, but is it enough damage? 𝙈𝘿𝘿 will live, and it will be Spirit that lose the 2 heroes off the back of that attempt.
Yep, and in the meanwhile, you see, as always, Team Spirit really smart about their map movement. 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼 moves into the enemy jungle, starts farming here. Tinker's forced to come top and defend the tower. And despite losing their 2 supports, they're applying the pressure. And whenever Tombstone's used, you're going to see 𝙎𝙿𝑑 kind of wait up. So this is 40 seconds that they know 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼 is most likely going to be allowed to farm pretty freely. And that's why he's up here in the top lane playing so aggressively. Collapse is the next target.
Trying to chase Faith Beyond. Not going to get in range for the rupture. Collapse into the trees, hard to find. They won't get the setup. Kind of halfway towards his Blink Dagger Collapse.
Yep, much better vision game this time around for 𝙎𝙿𝑑. Their wards are not getting dewarded the same way they were in the previous games. They actually have quite a lot of vision here to play with, and a lot more information than we've seen them have in the previous 2 games of the series.
There's a calm start here once again, but very close. 13 minutes in, less than 1k in it. Psg.Lgd, despite the 2 rough games they've had so far against Spirit, seemingly regaining their control that's managed to drive them straight through the upper bracket into this grand finals. Let's see if they can keep it up. Bottom, Spirit. Start for a bit of a poke on to 𝑌. Just the 2 of them is not enough to deal with the Undying. Not going to look to commit anything else here, Spirit. They know there's potentially backup behind the Undying.
Yeah, and the Tinker's deciding to go for the Aghanim Scepter. The way this works is whenever he lasers someone, they lose a chunk of their maximum HP. So versus these type of heroes that Team Spirit has, he's going to be very, very quick at killing them all.
Look at this quick move. 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝑼. He's in on the beyond. They're looking to try and burst the Bloodseeker, but the counterplay comes in. 𝙈𝘿𝘿 with the horn, looks to collapse, jumps over towards 𝙎𝙁𝘋𝑼. 𝙎𝙁𝘋𝑖 trying for the TPO, he's away. But collapse, there'll be no escape for him.
Yeah, just great presence here from 𝙎𝙿𝑑. Now they're the ones that are allowed to respond, and it seems like they understand now how Spirit's playing the pace of the map, and they understand what Spirit wants to do. They're going to make assumptions based on your movement, and it feels like 𝙎𝙿𝑑 are getting a better and better read of it. And yeah, I think that's largely due to the fact that they're able to establish more vision on the map this time around.
𝙎𝙁𝘋 back to the farm, wants to at least get his S&Y done before turning up to the fights. Or even with just that, the BKB may be something that he wants to hold back until he has as well. Tinker Laser will never be fun to play against as a PA when he's trying to focus targets. Bottom lane, see another attempt with a step on. This time around, do they have enough damage? They've got the catch up to 𝙈𝘿𝑿. He's trying to get away, but he will fall. This time around, Spirit, they'll get the big kill, but it has cost them both supports' lives. We'll see Toronto Tokyo trying to escape, but they got any way to find him here.
There's one more sentry.
He's into the trees. He's out of the trees.
There is a loop, that a glimpse.
Oh! Not quite able to get round to the trees to get that setup as Toronto Tokyo makes it out of there. They lose 2 supports, they get the Spectre. You happy with that if you're Spirit?
I think Spirit's okay with it. I think this is like, 𝙎𝙿𝑑 recognize that our Tinker is so strong right now. There's no real counterplay. Even if the PA gets on top of him right now, the PA doesn't deal enough damage to burst him. So I think for 𝙎𝙿𝑑, you want to try to abuse this timing where your Tinker's very strong and he's outputting damage. And 𝙈𝘿𝑿 dying once or twice here or there while he doesn't have haunt isn't the worst for them, as long as they get some sort of response in return.
Back to the farming, and 800 or so the axe to be done on 𝙈𝘿𝑿. They are on track to hit a very good timing, and we've seen already the responses from Psg.Lgd each and every time Spirit try and make a move have been top tier. But now the move that Spirit can make, it's going to be much more deadly. Collapse, the Blink Dagger on its way over to be in his hands. We saw what he was achieving last game when he was jumping all over the place. Let's see if he can pull it off again and start to literally tear Psg.Lgd apart with his abilities to just grab them and throw them around the battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely. But this game is much more challenging than the previous ones. There's going to be rockets flying at you. There's going to be tombstone zombies. You have many things that are going to get in your face, as well as the Bloodseeker Bloodrite. So he's going to have to both navigate these spells and make sure that he doesn't get caught before that. Plus, on top of that, there's a Haunt, right, to provide all this vision for LGD. So I feel like the way the game is shaping up, it's falling a lot into 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼's hands. And he's proven that he can do it.
Yes.
But his farm and the way he plays his team fight out is going to be very key in order for them to be able to stand a chance against LGD.
No, absolutely. As I say, this BKB, if he can get this quickly, that's going to be a huge nuisance. Not too much they can do through it. The Rupture being the main one. If the setup's there and Collapse, Miposhka, Mirror, they're able to hold the heroes in position. This PA is not going to have to step around the fight too much.
Yep.
As long as they're able to stand in position and get the hits in, they can have the heroes brought to them.
Absolutely. Ame finished up his Aghanim's, and once they get this timing coming, you see LGD immediately smoke up. They're checking for wards. They drop a sentry to block the Ancients. They know the PA is playing in this area. Unfortunately, they just made the wrong guess. So you either here are going to assume that he's at the two camps up in where they are right now, or that he's playing at the Ancients. But look at 𝙈𝙀𝘿. He sniffs it out.
It's so hard to catch this man. He's just always a step ahead.
I mean, the way they're reading the map is just very intelligent. I think they realize when the Spectre runs back to base that, hey, something's probably happening, right? He's not just running back to base because he wants to. They know that the item is very likely coming. And then when all the heroes then disappear, that is like another sign for 𝙈𝙀𝘿 to be like, okay, I can't show.
We're going to see the attempt onto 𝙈𝙀𝘆𝘄𝘼 down bottom. 𝙈𝙀𝘆, he'll jump over, sentry still down, 𝙈𝙀𝘆𝘄𝘼 will try and hide himself. Trees, let's stay on top. Same time over towards the mid, they will lose faith beyond. The counterplay was made by Spirit. See the TP out as well. Mirror gets back to safety, so 1-for-1 across the
Wizen
map here.
2 seconds for the skewer. Glimpse. Skewer back.
They've got the dagger slow to set it up. He's able to dodge the decay nicely so that he didn't get hit. Could still get the blink off. But now 𝙈𝙀𝘆, he's ready to come back in. 𝙈𝙀𝘆's off to the side. The rocket's not enough, but nothing to say. Jumps in to finish him off. The fear, the counterplay here from Spirit. Nothing to say. Is caught underneath the tower. Have they got enough damage here from the Willow in the back? There's the start onto the two of them underneath the tower. Nothing to say. Surely going to go down. He will collapse. Skewer over into the trees. Collapse. He's still alive here. Can they quite find him? Wise coming back over. Steps into Collapse. Finally, they burst in with a paintball. But this battle underneath the tower, it's costing Psg.Lgd lives as well. The root down, catching the two, pushing them back into it with a deafening blast. 𝙈𝙆, he's going to turn back over towards 𝙈𝙀𝘆𝘄𝘼's going to jump in, close the gap onto the Invoker Mirror. Miposhka, can they help him out? They cannot. 𝙈𝙆 able to finish off 𝙈𝙀𝘆𝘄𝘼 as well.
That was beautiful. I love the way Nothing to Say played that team fight. He recognized that if this PA is dead, there's no damage coming out of the Spirit draft. So trading his life for PA is really what enabled this entire fight to happen. You'll see a lot of Tinker players just, you know, they're like, I'm not going to go in, I might die. But he recognized that my death is worth it if I can take the PA with me. Just beautifully executed there from LGD. 𝙈𝙆𝘆 also, small thing in the fight, TP's back to base, heals up, uses Aghanim Scepter to jump back into the team fight and get those last couple of kills.
And 𝙈𝙆 is crazy. We're seeing the power of that shadow step. He's in and out consistently. That 30-second cooldown, easily able to do it a couple of times in a team fight.
Yep, Mira, nice play. Knows there's no stuns that can catch him here, so there's no skewer on the Rubik. He's not going to get caught during that. We have another big interesting item coming up. There's going to be the Holy Locket for the Undying, and once he has Soul Rip maxed out, okay, he already has Soul Rip maxed out, together with the Holy Locket, this healing is ridiculous. So basically the way it works is the more units there are, the more you're going to heal. And with Tombstone and the way it functions, you just spawn a bunch of extra units. So you're almost always going to get that maxed out heal. So any sort of healing tool, together with Spectre's Dispersion, just deals incredible amounts of damage in the team fights. I feel like LGD's draft is really coming together now.
Yeah, absolutely. So in a way that we just haven't seen from them so far in this series. Mid lane, they're looking for the jumping onto 𝙈𝙀𝘆𝘄𝘼. Will be able to turn with a quick tornado. The attention from Psg.Lgd will turn over towards Mirror. Into the Shadow Realm though. They still want to dive this, dropping down the tombstone. Just full aggression from Psg.Lgd, diving past the tier 1 tower. The Rockets, they're coming in on Toki. He's got to get up, but he can't. 𝙈𝙆𝘆! He's in straight on top of him.
That's just beautiful. They're abusing these vision tools so nicely. You have the Tombstone, you have the Bloodseeker. There's so many ways to get vision in these team fights.
I mean, this 𝙈𝙀𝘿 Spectre's looking pretty spooky. He's picking up the kills, the involvement here. Psg.Lgd just fighting in a way that we haven't seen from them so far in this series. We'll see the jump forward onto 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 underneath the tower. He'll be caught, but the heal comes out. He's trapped in the static storm, trying to run, but the Thunderstrike finishes him off. TP's coming in from Spirit. Why? Trying to dive in onto 𝙬𝙗𝑼. Another soul rip, healing Y up. He's going to stay on top of the PA, but the hits come out. 𝙬𝙗𝑼 takes him down.
He's able to get away. Oh, that was close.
See if they can pick up Mirror as well. They can. Nothing to say. In with the laser. And out he goes as well, picking up the action. 2K lead now for Psg.Lgd. They're starting to break down Spirit.
Yep, they absolutely are, but a very, very important item is about to come into the game, and that is the PA BKB. He's 100 gold off of it, and he's going to have it in the next team fight. And the way this changes the game is the Tinker can no longer just laser the PA and force him to reset out. 𝙬𝙗𝑼's going to have 9 seconds where he decides what he wants to do. And if those 9 seconds get him the right kills, that's going to be everything they need in order to win the fight.
And during that time, you know, 𝙬𝙗𝑼, where's he looking first? Is it sort of this Tinker? Does he have to just commit onto nothing to say to eliminate the threat from for the rest of his team?
I mean, the ideal scenario, right, is that you kill the Tinker with the PA BKB, because the only thing really covering you against the Tinker is that BKB. Once that BKB runs out, you're going to see the Tinker lasering you, rocketing you, refreshing, laser rocket again. So the ideal scenario for him is he's allowed to meld and kind of hang around the fight as it breaks out, and then once the Tinker commits in, that's when he jumps.
We've got a smoke coming in from Psg.Lgd. They are very ready to fight. Especially with 𝙈𝙀𝘿 heading back to base to reset. He's ready to shadow step in if he's needed.
Tombstone on the high ground.
Collapse is just seeping out. Excellent kinetic field from 𝙈𝙀𝘶. Stops them from being able to chase in. Put a stop to the escape here from Spirit.
Looks like Spirit might want to chase into this though, but they should recognize that Tombstone's been dropped on the high ground, and it might be a hard fight for them.
I mean, 𝙬𝙗𝑼, he's going to fit with the BKB. Just goes to work straight away onto Y. He should be able to get this. Yeah, Y's dead for sure. The crit comes in. Y will fall.
LGD are hanging around though. They recognize the importance of this BKB.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a window now to maybe punish if Spirit stick around, but they won't. Back behind the tier 2 tower, Spirit will hold back.
Yeah, it's a tense game. This BKB really is going to be important, so using the first 9-second charge for the Undying, it's okay, but it needs to lead to something. You know, this opens up some time, this gives them some time to farm. Hopefully they can deward some of the vision that LGD are playing with. And if they manage to do these things, and they can reset the map to a position where they can farm up and they can get to the PA shard, they can get these items that the PA needs in order to punish the LGD draft, then it's all good. But if those BKB charges get wasted for support kills that don't lead to more, then it's problematic for them.
Psg.Lgd, they're trying to sneak the Roshan. Won't be the quickest though, and already actually deciding that they don't want to spend any further moments committing on Spirit. Potentially around the area, and they are. Spirit more than happy to fight. Blink RP at the ready. A big old Sarah for Psg.Lgd though as well. Haunt good to go again for 𝙈𝙀𝘿. 300 gold away from the Manta style as well.
Yeah, Y leading the charge. All he needs to do is get that Tombstone down before the fight starts, and he's going to do it as soon as the smoke pops.
He's going to pop it down immediately to see what he can find. Will just be Mirror. The Shadow Realm and a TP out will get him away from this, so now no Tombstone for the fight.
Yeah, but he does have that level 10 talent. This was recently added. The minus 15 seconds Tombstone cooldown makes it less of a committal when you use it.
Well, Toronto Tokyo. And he's going to end up what is the Bloodsea commit. 𝙬𝙬𝘼𝘋 just turns straight away upon him. Toronto Tokyo was not prepared for that at all. Just standing there in the mid, and 𝙬𝙬𝘋 finds a very tasty surprise.
And now, if the Undying would have had that Tombstone ready, he would have had that ulti ready, you could have seen LGD potentially poking at the Roche. What they ideally want is for... okay, they actually already do have the Mantle Inspector, so never mind. But that is a big Roche tool. Once you get Mantle Inspector, you have the Desolate to deal true damage to the Roche, and then it goes down very quickly. But they're happy with the pace of the game right now. They're happy with how it's playing out. Shard finished on PA.
He's coming across this tree line. He knows that nothing to say is playing here behind the tower. He's going to try for the catch, won't get it. Goes for the attempt, but nothing to say, out of range.
And power stolen by Rubik as well, by the way, so the Spectre is now matching the PA's farm speed.
About 2k in it at the moment between 𝙈𝙀𝘿 and 𝙬𝙗𝑼, but definitely having that ability on their side as well will help him close the gap. Online for the 𝙬𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 next after the Manta.
Yeah, intense game. Both teams just holding their high grounds, understanding where they're strong. Neither of them willing to fight into the other team's vision. If you look at how Y is positioned, he's standing right outside of that ward until he's ready to run in.
Do they want to fight Spirit? They're on the low ground. Tombstone dropped. As soon as it's out, Team Spirit, they retreat.
Yeah, I think this is a very intelligent thing that 𝙎𝙊𝘾 have recognized in this game. They've been dominated in vision for 2 games straight, and they feel like, you know what, maybe they're better at warding than me. How do I solve it? Well, collapse. Pick heroes like a vision.
He's going to get it. Grab on him. The BKB's going to look at the RP, catches the 2 core. Sunshine comes in. They kill off beyond. The static storm is onto 𝙎𝙊𝘾. 𝙎𝙁's going to look to bail out. Collapses won't go for the TP away. Gets out. They all get out on Spirit.
Oh, 𝙎𝙊𝘾 just barely missing the RP on the PA there. That would have been a massive kill. But you see this from Spirit, right? As soon as that BKB is ticking low, he has to TP out of the fight.
Yeah, they know exactly when to sort of just get out of there. They get their kill, they get their trade. They know not to push it for anything more. Team Spirit knowing the exact moment to call it quits and reset.
Yeah, absolutely. 𝙎𝙁 is playing this game excellently. But I do worry, once this BKB starts sticking out, the Tinker's closing in on a Hex, right? So
He's
even the threat of potentially jumping on him is going to be hard. You see 𝙎𝙁 is also buying that Desolator. It's not a Basher. It's not an item that will allow him to necessarily kill the Tinker if he has that Hex.
They're going to go for the Roche now. They know there's no RP.
Yeah.
So they have the damage to take this out and see if Spirit still want to try and make a jump into them.
Yeah, so between the laser, the Mantle Spectre, the Undying damage amplification.
Gonna get the fear, quite nicely timed. Roshan is very low. Is there any potential for a steal?
Yeah, absolutely. 𝙎𝙁 might go.
He's not able to get it. He's not able to get in. 𝙎𝙁𝘾 gets the kill. The Aegis on the Spectre now. Spirit, they've got to be cautious. 𝙎𝙁 pops the BKB, but he's not even burst so low. Throw out the daggers, but they're surrounded by Psg.Lgd. Maposhka as well, caught in the river. They couldn't make the jump in time, and 𝙎𝙁 just getting burst so heavily before he could actually get the BKB off there.
Yep, excellent gameplay from 𝙎𝙊𝘾 right now. They're banging on all cylinders.
They are. We did not see anything close to this in the first 2 games. Psg.Lgd finding their confidence, their fire, as they're hitting back hard here in this 3rd game.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like the way that they've approached vision this game is just so smart. I think this is what they were missing in the first 2 games. These tools that provide them with vision, and the adaptation to recognize that is amazing.
And just jumping around the map, collapse this time around. The damage too overbearing from 𝙎𝙗𝘾 and his illusions.
All right, so for the side of Spirit here, I think it's getting increasingly difficult. You're starting to feel the pressure of the Tinker. You recognize that, you know what, there's that Hex, there's that 𝙎𝙗𝘾s, and once my BKB's out, I'm not really sure how to fight into these heroes. And we haven't really seen Toronto Tokyo in this game. He hasn't really had a game, so this Tinker pick from Psg.Lgd is played out beautifully.
It's definitely turning into a game where, when you look at the farm on the cores, a lot is on 𝙎𝙁's shoulders, whereas on the side of Psg.Lgd, the wealth very evenly split between Nothing to Say and 𝙎𝙗𝘾, both of these cores, and just in combination with one another. Spectre, Tinker, nobody wants to play against a good equipment. Found one of those in mid lane into the GQ. He's in and using the RP to catch 𝙎𝙁 completely off guard. He wasn't ready for that at all. When I see them try and turn towards Faith behind, but the Soul Reveal comes out. The Meteor crashing down on the Bloodseeker. They find him in return. Mirror dusted in position here. Wyatt trying to look towards him, but the field holds back the Undying. Mirror gets away, but a quick move there from 𝙎𝙀𝘾.
Yeah, there's still the Haunt ready though if they want to look for more.
See, jump over the wall, Toronto Tokyo. He's out of mana, he's out of luck. 𝙎𝙗𝘾 continuing to be an absolute beast this game.
The team fights are just so hard for Spirit, and especially if 𝙎𝙁 isn't there to play the fights for them. They really need him. What a beautiful initiation from the Rubik there with the RP. You know, whiffed the one earlier up top, but gets the more important one here mid.
I mean, they're down 8k at the moment. How on earth do they just approach any sort of team fights now at this stage with the Spectre just jumping into their faces? And as you say, the vision, the counter abilities from Psg.Lgd to just disrupt any sort of move or jump that Spirit are trying to make themselves. It seems that this time round, Spirit, they're the ones in the impossible position.
Yeah, I think they're off balance, right? They've probably played this entire tournament playing off of vision advantage, having information advantage. And in this game, they don't. They have one Tinker Warrior in an area where they can't really punish Tinker, that's far up top. They're not really going to bring their heroes to that side of the map. And then in the bottom area, the only ward that they have to fight around is also an area that you won't really see 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 approaching.
Look at this move mid. Atos into the rupture, trying to 𝙬𝘾𝘄𝘼 in trouble. They'll put the BKB. We'll see 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼 heading on top of him. We'll get glimpse back. And we'll give the space for 𝙬𝘾𝘄𝘼 to stand his ground, the rupture to wear off. Looking for setup on the side. They get the catch onto 𝙈𝙀𝘄𝘼. He'll commit. Jumps in. Doesn't get caught up on Hanks though. He's through. Jumps in. BKB off in time though. 𝙬𝘄𝘼. They'll survive. Over towards 𝙬𝘋 he goes. He won't chase further. The Sunstrike just off the mark. 𝙬𝘋 will live, but so will 𝙬𝘄𝘼. That time getting so close once again to being burst. The life still coming in big. Did just grab that Paladin sword before that last play. Almost certainly saving his life there with a big burst heal through the crits.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, where did that healing come from? I did not see that coming. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And dude, he gets that second hex off. That's a one-team fight.
Yeah, that was scary.
It's really coming down to, you know, those micro decisions that you make in these team fights. He thought he could get the burst damage out in time. Seemed like the wrong choice this time around.
I mean, 32 minutes in, Psg.Lgd still an incredibly comfortable position. Look at the map control as well. They've only lost one tower so far in this 32 minutes. Very impressive control and just sort of forcing Spirit to almost play a different game than they would have wanted to. It was clear that Spirit came into this wanting to deal with Psg.Lgd the same way they have done in the first two of this series. It's not worked this time. Spirit, we're going to have to see something different from them. Something that we have seen before in previous series, but not something they've necessarily brought out today.
Yeah, and if you click on 𝙬𝘄𝘼, you're going to notice that he's feeling the pressure of the Tinker. That's a refresher queued up.
All right.
And if you think about how PA works, that's really mainly for the BKB. He feels like he needs that extra duration of Black King Bar in order to be survivable in these fights and win the game. So really, if it works out, this will be a genius item. I'm really interested to see how it plays.
Focus around the mid lane here for Spirit. Want to try and get...
what a play by Y. He put his courier on the hill to scout out the wall.
And the collapse is going to still get the jump on him, but immediately the telekinesis comes out for 𝙬𝘾𝘄𝘼. Catching collapse in the combo. Collapse for the TP out, but the Yules is there. 𝙬𝘄𝘼 trying to get in with the BKB. He'll turn over towards 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼, but 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼 just jumping all over the place. 𝙬𝘄𝘼 has to go with the BKB TP out. Collapse goes down. 𝙬𝘄𝘼 will be able to save himself. Psg.Lgd, they're looking to see if they can chase for more. 𝙬𝘋 trying to run down 𝙬𝘼𝘄𝘼. For the Invoker, just as speedy as himself, will manage to break away.
What an unbelievable play by Y though. He just put his courier on this hill, waiting for that ward to come out, recognizing that if they smoke, middle lane's where they're going to go.
I know they're going for more. They're ready to try and get the jump in onto 𝙬𝘄𝘼, but 𝙬𝘄𝘼 blinking straight over to the safety of Mirror on the high ground. Means they won't get a further catch in. Psg.Lgd there now to back off. Still 30 seconds without collapse.
Yep, the pressure is on. We see nothing to say. Buying that Aeon Disc. He was queuing up the BKB, recognizing though, the problem for me is not really the magic damage. It's potentially getting locked down by the PA and getting bursted. So Aeon Disc will solve that problem for him. And their items are just gearing them up to not die. You see also, same thing for 𝙈𝙀𝘿. He knows that PA doesn't really want to buy an MKB. It's not an item you traditionally see on the PA. It forces PA to deviate from his standard item build. So buying the Butterfly here is going to force the PA to play his game. And now the PA is suddenly reacting to the Spectre's items instead of the other way around.
Because what do you do in this situation now, 𝙬𝘄𝘼? What is the call with his next item?
It's a hard decision, right?
Yeah.
And this is what 𝙎𝙬𝘋 are doing so well. They're forcing you into a position where you might make a mistake. Maybe he buys the wrong item. Maybe he now decides to go for the MKB, but then his BKB is too short to fight. Or you're just making this problematic for Team Spirit. You want to make it as hard as possible for 𝙬𝘄𝘼 to do what's right.
And he's even thinking about the Ags as well. A lot of options here for 𝙬𝘄𝘼.
Yeah, it's a difficult choice. I don't know what the right one is.
And we'll see if he does either. A very tough place to play from.
Yeah.
Down 13k. Both nothing to say, and 𝙈𝙀𝘿's power just continuing to grow.
And we've talked about this a lot, but you know, Roshan's about to spawn. Heroes start moving over to the top side, secure that area. Y already has the ward down. Notices there are no heroes there. That means we know where Spirit are. An immediate smoke over.
Collapse. Ooh. He's out with a blink. Same can't be said for Miposhka though. Disruptor will die. Mirror and 𝙬𝘄𝘼. This is a bit of a funky place to be. Yeah, they'll have a poke and then immediate TP out. They're not messing around. They know how quick Psg.Lgd is going to be with these responses. Collapse, he's on a cliff. And nothing to say, he's quite happy to join him.
Not really quite sure what was going on there. Maybe he was attempting to D-ward while he saw the hero's bottom and saw the TPs on the tier 1 bot tower. But Roshan has spawned. Click on Y, he has everything ready. Tombstone ready, ult ready. This Rosh is going to go down extremely quickly as soon as 𝙈𝙀 connects over.
I mean, in 50 seconds without collapse, it's unlikely they're going to be able to do anything without him alive. Is there any world that they buy back to contest this, or do you just let this go?
I feel like based on the way they're positioned, it might be hard to get there in time. Yeah. So the buyback option probably is not there. It seems like 𝙈𝙀 now has seen this Tinker buying day on disc, so what does he do? He buys the appropriate item to response. He's going to go for the Nullifier.
All right. So many choices, and 𝙈𝙀, he's got to make the right one.
I think Team Spirit have recognized that as long as this Tinker's alive, there's no way that we're going to win the long fight. And we're going to constantly be forced to TP out as soon as 𝙈𝙀's BKB ends. And for our Team Spirit, I think the way that you need to fight here is you need to set it up in a way where you initiate, force the Tinker to show himself, and then have 𝙈𝙀 go in. And at the same time, flip side for Team Spirit, for Psg.Lgd, you know that your 4-man is stronger. If both 𝙈𝙀 and the Tinker stay out of the fight, you have the advantage. So just don't show nothing to say too early in a team fight. Allow your team to play the game 4v4, and then come in and beat the PA as soon as he commits.
Again, falling back into a bit of a peaceful era here for Team Spirit, at least, where they don't have any interest in meeting Psg.Lgd head-to-head, whilst there is the Aegis on 𝙈𝙀.
And for the first time in this game, Spirit has finally been able to establish some sort of vision in the bottom area of the map. We noticed them doing this time after time. When they fall behind, they like to take over the enemy triangle. They feel like it's a comfortable place for them to fight in. And even in this game, you notice it. Here we go again. Up into this radiant triangle, or dire triangle. Wait for the Tinker to show up. If the Tinker comes to that wave, they're going to be right on top of him. But it seems like Nothing to Say has played plenty of Tinker games. He's recognized this is the way.
Yeah, he's got a lot under his belt here. Nothing to say. As 𝙈𝙀, a quick jump over to the bottom lane, adding another kill to his scoreboard. 9, 1, and 15.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, he's gone for the Haunt Illusion damage. 25.
And we'll see here. An attempt of a play, 𝙈𝙀, he's going to get caught down by the bash, and he's got to get out of it. 𝙈𝙀, he'll go for the BKB TP out. The disarmament is there under the Spectre, so no chance of a bash. As 𝙈𝙀 will get out the same. Not to be said for Toronto Tokyo, though, as Nothing to Say has his number.
I mean, Nothing to Say has really turned it up this game. I mean, I'm really impressed with his Tinker decision making. It's just very, very intelligent. Has not gotten caught a single time farming lanes, I think. And the way he teamfights is just beautiful. He knows what to wait for. He knows who to look for. This is a completely different Psg.Lgd compared to the first two games.
It really, really is. It's looking fantastic. This is the power that we've seen from Psg.Lgd in the series before, in this run in the upper bracket. And it's coming out just where it's needed the most. They were knocked down hard in the first two games, and I think a lot of people were definitely going to be interested to see if they could somehow regain that control. It's not an easy place to be in, as you said. For them, the pressure incredibly high in this. They will not accept anything less than first place.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another fight brewing. This is the only side of the map that Spirit has wards on. So Spirit are not willing to take this team fight into 𝙈𝙀. I'm really curious what fight they're going to look for. This is the one, I think. Can't go on 𝙈𝙀 though. The Aegis protects him.
2 minutes still with that safety on the Spectre.
But yeah, if we think about the mentality of 𝙈𝙀d coming into this game, right, the pressure was definitely on them. I mean, Johan and Seb talked about what they saw backstage, what they saw in their expressions. I'm sure this kind of momentum for them is huge. And it's something that you need in order to win TI, right? You need to have that attitude of champions.
Look at this jump. Look at the stout. BKB, still see the jump from 𝙈𝙀. He's in with the bash onto Toronto Tokyo. Let's push back with a deafening blast, but they're in with the grab. Nothing to say. He's in with the nukes.
He's playing with so much confidence on this Tinker. I was talking about how you need to wait out for the PA, but he recognizes, you know what, there's no way to PA his bottom here, and just full commits into their base.
He's level 26 on this Tinker right now.
He is incredibly farmed. He's going to finish a Bloodstone too, or an Octarine Core, sorry.
I mean, without a doubt, we saw how much Collapse could do last game when he was just in the lead, ahead, just playing around with his food. He's got to make some big moves here from the defensive position, as he is losing teammates around him to the consistent dives from Psg.Lgd. He'll try and get the grab here. onto 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼, it's not going to happen. Forced back to the fountain. As Psg.Lgd, they've got all the space in the world to push in onto the tier 3. Can Team Spirit get them out of here? There's no buyback on Toronto Tokyo, still down for 30 seconds. And without mirror as well, they'll have to, by the looks of it, at least let one set of racks go down here. There's no defense to be had quite yet for Spirit.
That's so hard to fight into this tombstone. You saw 𝙎𝙀 kind of thinking about it. He was looking for that potential wraparound, but recognizing that, you know what, my team won't be able to support me. Even if I can catch the Tinker in the backlines, I don't have the power to kill him on my own.
Oh, look how much money he's got. 6k gold in the bank here. Nothing to say, he can really start picking up whatever he wants now. Just filling up those inventory slots.
Yeah, absolutely. Finishes up that Octarine core. Just wants that mana pool. Ooh.
We'll have a momentary pause here. 15 to 30. 24,000 net worth lead for Psg.Lgd. The numbers looking very good for them right now.
I have a hard time. I'm trying to think of scenarios for Spirit. It feels difficult to find a way to do it. But I really like this choice from 𝙎𝙀. I think this refresher could be genius. It could just be the thing that they need.
I mean, the problem is, even if they get these kills right on the defensive Team Spirit, it's a Spectre and a Tinker. You kill these heroes, they're buying back, their boots are traveling over, they're haunting in, they're shadow stepping back into the action. Killing them once is not going to be enough. Psg.Lgd will use the opportunity to get in and destroy you, even if they lose a core at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're totally right about that, Owen, and that is why they are so far ahead, right? They have all these options, they have all of these tools, but if anything could potentially catch them off guard, I mean, PA refresher, when have you seen that? I think once that BKB runs out, expect Nothing to Say to blink in to be ready to hex. And if he gets that refresher off, if Nothing to Say didn't click on a PA, that could mean his death.
I mean, it would be quite something if this build does have the impact possible. But will it be enough? It seems like a pretty big ask here when they're as down as much as they are in this game 3.
Let me tell you, as a player in this position, these kind of pauses, it's the worst thing that could possibly happen. It throws you off your momentum.
Well, for who? The team that's ahead or behind?
I mean, I'd say for both. Yeah. I think it's really sad for both sides. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, Spirit's getting an advantage, but when you are playing like the pressure, you're playing with the way LGD are, your mind is so zoned in into thinking, what are they doing now? Where are they moving next? How far could they have potentially gotten in the time that it's gone from me last seeing them on the map? And all of these small micro senses that you have where, like, let's say 𝙎𝙀 shows on the top lane and then 15 seconds passes, you know where 𝙎𝙀 approximately could be because you know how fast the hero moves. Everything like that, it's thrown off by this kind of pause. And that's why usually, if you think about it, after pauses in pro games, you see somebody getting picked off or somebody making the wrong judgment call. And it's because this like micro senses that you're used to playing off of gets thrown off.
Especially in a game with such high stakes here as the grand finals, the International 10. Spirit, as you can see, up 2-0 right now in this best of 5. But as this game 3 goes, looks like Psg.Lgd will be able to stop the potential of a 3-0 clean sweep here for Spirit.
I just really hope there's no initiation in the next 30 seconds after this pause, because that would really suck for both sides.
There we go. Ready to get the action back on its way, ladies and gentlemen.
I can feel my heart pounding with that unpause there.
You know how the players are feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, looks like hopefully there's no initiation here, so
everyone's
survived the pause.
Pretty far away from one another. 𝙎𝙀, just a recipe away from the refresher, so I certainly want to get that done. Ideally, maybe hit the 25 if he can before the next fight is forced.
Which talent do you take though? The 𝙬𝙁 is great, you get more damage, but the tripling stifling dagger might just catch out a support and one-shot it while you're not paying attention.
I feel like the 𝙬𝙁 might be it because you got to kill someone. I mean, one of your items is a refresher. You're not maxed out on the damage.
Yep, you're
making sure
right.
that the crits are hitting harder. Could be pretty essential here for 𝙎𝙀. But then again, the triple is nice if you know like mega creeps are going to be coming in, if you feel like you're losing some lanes of barracks, so you need to push back out. So
I'm also thinking for the team fight, right? How we know that 𝙎𝙀 has to wait out. He can't fully commit straight at the start because then he'll be forced to waste his BKB.
And maybe they do have, of course, the Empower. You know, the triple stifling daggers with the Empower on them. That's very...
quick fingers from Tokyo, but he's caught.
Yeah, they've got to catch him. BK in, he'll try and walk away. See if he's able to make it out. He's been ruptured. He's going for the TP out, but the BKB comes to an end. And so does his escape. He'll try and hold them back with a tornado, but there's nothing more to hold them back with. 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼, he's going to be the new focus. Static Soul from 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼 down into the trees to try and stop the chase. Right behind, coming in with the BKB. But 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼 will manage to make it out. 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼 as well in the trees, hidden out as he TPs.
Yeah, beautiful reset there from Team Spirit. I actually thought they were going to have way more casualties, but quick fingers from 𝙎𝙁𝘾𝘄𝘼, blinking on top of 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼. Great team play there with a Static Storm to cancel. Tinker potentially chasing for more kills.
So yeah, he has taken the chance here, hamming up the damage. The gold for that refresher orb, just a few hundred away.
I'm so excited for this refresher orb. I'm going to be honest.
Big brain play comes out.
Exactly. I want to know how it plays out. And now he has it.
He does.
Immediate smoke up.
They would have seen him building, of course, with the perseverances, but it's just a question of whether Nothing to Say in particular is ready for it to be complete for the next fight. As you mentioned, if he's out of position, he comes in with a second round of BKB and Nullifier. It could be deadly for Nothing to Say. You know, a man on his Tinker who's had a pretty free game so far, jumping all over the place and bursting down the lineup of Team Spirit.
Yep. BKB finished on Y. This Undying is not easy to bring down.
And look at his positioning as well, just stopping any chance of Spirit being able to make a move from their triangle.
Yeah. I mean, the problem really for Spirit, like, how do you kill the other heroes? If not PA? If PA can't commit on them, how does anything die?
Of course, Psg.Lgd there. You're going to be feeling very comfortable. Nothing to say in 𝙈𝙀𝘾𝘄𝘼, more than happy to farm up sort of their 6th item. Looking for the Orchid into the Bloodthorn here for 𝙈𝙀𝘆. Nothing to Say. Getting close to having the comfort of the overwhelming blink, maybe even holding on for his buyback as well.
Toro? He's caught.
He has been quiet. He needs help and he needs it now. The BKB comes out. He has been ruptured though. Not much that he can do, and 𝙈𝙀𝘆, he's in with the illusion, surrounds him. No way for 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼 to get out. And of course he did spend up on the refresher, so 100 seconds, no buyback on the PA.
Yep, 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝑔d firing back strong. What a catch from Faith Beyond. And man, I feel like it just all ties back to the vision. This game, Psg.Lgd had vision. They were playing on even terms for most of the game. And
oh, Collapse, he tries to make the move, but the counter's there. 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝑼 with an instant lift. Holds him in his tracks. As it's another core out of the game. Collapse and 𝙎𝙁𝘾𝑗𝑟𝑒, no way of returning for this defense.
Skewer back on Mira.
The grab. Mira also to be blown up outside of the base. 3 dead on Spirit. Psg.Lgd, they're up to the racks.
That's gotta be so satisfying for 𝙎𝙬𝘾.
Oh yeah.
Collapse with that mag, just constantly skewering them back. And now finally he gets to do it himself.
Yeah, Collapse giving 𝙎𝙬𝘾 the respect as well there. With the words of Purge in the tip. I mean, this is what the Psg.Lgd fans expected to see from them in this grand finals. They just took a bit of time to turn up today. Needed a bit of warm-up. The first 2 games, that was that. But this game 3, full power here. Even just into the base, 𝙈𝙀𝘆 just killing off poor old 𝙈𝙀𝘆.
𝙈𝙀𝘆d are playing with such confidence. But at the same time, patience. Whenever they need to slow down, you know they're doing it. Oh, the immediate roach spawn. Nice. They're very happy about this, I'm sure.
And nothing to be done about this from Spirit whatsoever. So fall straight into the hands of Psg.Lgd. As we'll see, poor old 𝙈𝙀𝘆 has tried his best to defend against the creeps, and then suddenly an 𝙈𝙀𝘆 appears on top of him, disappears as quickly as he appears. But the job is done. 𝙈𝙀𝘆 taken out. No place is safe right now from this Spectre.
Yeah, and the Rubik gets the Aghanim's scepter. This is probably one of my favorite Aghanims in the game. It's always a great feeling when you have it as Rubik. So one of the cool things about this that I don't think we've ever talked about is when you spell steal, and most teams aren't aware that you have an Aghs, they kind of think, all right, Rubik used it. You hear the bling sound, and then you're, okay, I can use my spells however I want. But with the Aghs, that throws it off. That just makes it easier for you to get those big steals that you want to get. So highly doubt Team Spirit be ready for this, but to be fair, they've had a lot of time to sit in the base. Usually what you do during this time is you're starting to discuss everything. What is it that 𝙎𝙬𝘋 can do? How do they approach this fight? What are they going to be looking for? What are we looking for? What are our objectives here? Which heroes do we need to go on? What spells do we need to save? All these things should be discussed for Spirit, and they should have a structured fight in mind here, because you can predict what's going to happen.
I mean, 40,000 gold down right now, Spirit. Psg.Lgd. It looks like a pretty smooth sailing here to the victory. Is there really anything the Spirit can pull off whilst this far behind?
I mean, it's a matter of finding the tinker. I really think so. Of course, you can always win. In Dota, I feel like you always have the option of winning. And especially in late game, yeah, there's 40,000 net worth differentiating you, but there's no amount of net worth that will make up for a bad positioning or, you know, the clutch play. So formations is really important here for 𝙎𝙬𝘋. And if yatoro can find some sort of backline kill, that could open the fight up entirely.
Approaching final step barracks here, the jump in underneath the tier 4s, they're in on him at Boska. He's gone, the collapse will try and jump in with the skewer back onto 𝙎𝙬𝘋. yatoro is committed onto the front lines with the BKB, but he's been to Salam, gets the Phantom Knives off. Now turns everyone's wide, but look how much HP Y's got, yatoro. Refresher, up around, nothing to say with the X, they've knocked down yatoro. yatoro to fall, buyback at the ready. Instant smoke up from Spirit. Mirror. Set things up with the curse crack, they get the glimpse. And look at the skewer, but he's actually able to get out here with a Mansa. 𝙎𝙬𝘋 won't be grabbed back yet, steps back to the safety of his team. Psg.Lgd still respecting the buybacks here from Spirit. They won't instantly push in onto the melee racks, but the rocket spam begins from nothing to say. yatoro, he's going to look to try and jump outside of the base. He's able to jump it onto Joki, he's going to go for nothing to say, but nothing to say, gets the blue buff in time. Back up to the high ground, he moves, but 𝙎𝙬𝘋 takes it. They get the skewer, 𝙎𝙬𝘋, he's in the fountain. He's picking up the fountain. They've got him, he's in the fountain. Can he get out? He cannot. They've done it the once, can they do it again? It's just the three of them, the meatball's coming down, 𝙎𝙬𝘋! He needs help! He's in the fountain and it isn't his own! The skewer's attempted, but the Yules is there to stop the flame! 𝙎𝙬𝘋 will be getting out of the fountain alive! GG is called! And Psg.Lgd will take this game 3!
I love Dota so much. Oh, so beautiful. Everything happened. You have to skewer into the fountain.
Oh my goodness.
The fountain. They counter-blink the skewer in again, but no, the Yules. And then the stolen skewer, and you pull out a hero of your own.
They did.
To the GG.
Wow. I mean, they fought right up until the end here in this game 3, Spirit, but they were too far behind. Psg.Lgd. I mean, this is... This is them looking phenomenal and completely in the comfort zone. Something that, after seeing the first 2 games, it was understandable to sort of doubt if we were actually going to see them get to this place, but they have. They've hit back so hard here in game 3, Psg.Lgd. They'll get a game now. Spirit, they're still up 2-1, but Insania, could this be the beginning of a Psg.Lgd reverse sweep?
I mean, I absolutely think so. I think they identified a couple of really crucial things for themselves. This was not like a fluke win. This was not like, oh, we just did something right. I think they strategically understood we're getting outwarded. We don't have vision. We don't have information. And they addressed it in this game. I think they picked heroes that allow them to have vision in team fights, and they had the ability to fight back.
Wow, well, there we have it. We've had 2 scary games from Spirit, and now 1 very scary one from Psg.Lgd. We'll see if Spirit's able to turn back up big time in the 4th game, or if Psg.Lgd have maybe figured them out here at the all-important point in the grand finals. As Psg.Lgd, they'll take game 3.
Thank you very much, ODPixel and Insania. And indeed, we are going to a game 4. It will not be a clean sweep for Team Spirit, and you heard it from our commentary team. They think maybe Psg.Lgd has figured something out. Well, I know they figured one thing out. Let's have nothing to say. Play on his Tinker. He used to be a hero spammer on that hero, and he absolutely crushed it, Tsunami.
All these people saying, oh, you're playing against Team Spirit, you don't ban Magnus. Well, you're not 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼, you're not 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘆. Things have changed, and they have now their own specialty being revealed. They had shown it 2 times during the group stage. In fact, it was against Team Secret. Whenever they had lost the first game against Secret, they whipped out a last pick, nothing to say, Tinker, and they won that game. Oh. It was with a completely different lineup outside of that, but this time the problem they were trying to answer was the Magnus. We were getting vision from the Bloodseeker. We were getting instant cancels with the Rubik and the 𝙈𝘄𝘼. Every single box was ticked for that draft.
They literally did everything they could to make Magnus look bad when played that way, right? So you pick Rubik for the lift, you have all of the vision from Haunt, Tombstone, and Bloodright, and you couple that up with a Tinker. And I think, honestly, on the draft panel, I think Seb had a really, really good point that Collapse didn't do in this game. Maybe you should have played the Magnus completely differently. Like, maybe you don't play on the Skewer setup if it's this hard. You could have taken a different approach, maybe picked a different carry that was more geared toward solving the Spectre. They picked the PA for the break and for the high burst damage. Perhaps a pushing type of carry could have worked better here, like, say, a Juggernaut or, you know, something to that effect, where then you play on the Empower, you had a really strong mid-game timing, take Roche and try to end the game. But obviously, you know, you've played this way on Magnus, like, with 10 wins in a row, whatever, as Collapse, right? And it works every time, so you just want to keep rolling, right? But 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼, they had a really good plan this time.
And also with that plan, right, I think we've really seen how Spectre and Tinker in the patch kind of course, at the tail end, why they are so good together, right? You have, you know, Spectre with the Ags, that 30-second cooldown, Astral Step. Before, you're always playing on Haunt. You're big cooldown guys, got to wait it off. But no, now it's just every time you see a hero, you're instantly jumping. If a support shows underneath a ward, if like an Undying just walking around and find someone, bam, Spectre's there. And of course, Tinker as well, equally can match that. And is tanky enough to also get into the middle of these fights. So yeah, PSG, they now have the confidence that we needed to see them have to be able to bounce back in this series. And you see, like, both the cores, right? On the screen here, you have nothing to say. 14-1-13. Oh, 15, sorry, I can't read, on his Tinker. And then you have Spectre as well. You know, I think he ended the game like 15-1-23 as well. Like, both cores really came out into this game and just said, no, we can come back into this series. We can show off on these, you know, signature heroes.
To me, what's interesting about this draft as well, we're talking a lot about the Tinker because he popped off and had a really great game. I actually don't think this pick was necessary for them to win the game. I think it was the best pick for them in the given situation. But if that would have been banned, I wouldn't have been like, uh-oh, what are Psg.Lgd going to do? Because I still think the integral parts of the strategy is getting that vision. Tinker obviously plays amazing around it, so it's an awesome pick. But if that isn't there in the pool, maybe you can get another mid hero that takes advantage of it, like any of the spirits, like Storm Ember. I think a lot of them were banned, though. They were, yeah. But there would have been, there's always something left, right, that can play with some sort of tempo there. So obviously it was an insane game for him on that Tinker. Love to see it. You know, a lot of people don't like playing against that hero in pubs for reasons that might have been highlighted in this game. But to me, that's important, right? Because if you're going into this game, you're like, okay, they won because of this Tinker pick, then next time it's going to be banned, right? What are you going to do? And what was the last ban of Spirit that game? I'm trying to remember.
The last ban of Spirit that game was a Void Spirit.
Void Spirit, right. So they were looking the Spirit direction. I think Psg.Lgd themselves banned both Storm and Ember as their last two. So that kind of forced the hand there for Team Spirit to get rid of the last one.
Also, what was encouraging to me is that this also didn't seem like an anti-Magnus draft. It seemed that the first 2 picks, I got the Rubik, I got the Undying. I think we can start to play it by ear now, and then depending on what Spirit started selecting after that, then they were like, oh, okay, maybe, you know, we'll put a Spectre on top of this. So I wouldn't even be surprised if they let Magnus go again, or if they maybe even first phase pick it this time on 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's now Spirit have lost with the Magnus after crushing the first game, or the second game set technically with the Magnus, and everyone now going, whoa, Collapse is amazing. Now, the second game he plays it, he'll probably say to the guys, right, if they draft like this and itemize like this, I can't play the game that we've been, you know, coming into this TI with. So potentially Spirit might even be questioning themselves on Magnus. And this is the beauty of TI and like the mini meta of best of fives, right? It's because we spoke about 𝙈𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼 being the reason why PSG was unable to really capitalize in the first 2 games. Magnus, why they won game 2 on Spirit. And now suddenly game 3, we might even question if they want to even go near it because PSG feels like they've discovered it, understood it throughout this, you know, 3-game series so far.
And I feel like it's also, you know, something you could be concerned about with Psg.Lgd after those first 2 games is like the whole, like, you know, the confidence, the mentality. They third pick their carry, right? It's not like, okay, we need, oh, these guys are good. We need to go late game, play slow, get 𝙈𝙾𝘾 the perfect game. You know, they're willing to open up and do some different things. They identify, this is the hero we want for this game. We have a strategy and it worked great. So has me pretty hopeful for them going into the next game. And for Spirit, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be too phased by a 1-game loss. They've been here plenty of times already this tournament, so they're going to have something else up their sleeves for sure.
The Mars was even uncontested previous game, so we know the Collapse has got some backups there as well. I want to highlight the mental game you just mentioned because I know that there's a lot of people online like, oh, 𝙈𝘀𝘿𝘄𝘼 and nothing to say. It feels like maybe they're crumbling a little bit under the pressure, and I think this third game proves everybody that said that 100% wrong because they were both on fire. And this mental game we highlighted so much, Tsunami, because it is so important in a best-of-5 grand finals with $13 million on the line.
Yeah, on both sides we can see maybe the nerves of, oh my gosh, it's all these Royal Roaders on this side of Spirit. It's all mostly a bunch of first-timers, but then they are joined in union with that lack of tension or extremely high tension, depending on how they've been reacting to it. Meanwhile, on 𝙈𝙀𝑑, you have nothing to say in 𝙈𝙀𝘾, who may feel out of their element whenever they're paired up with Faith Beyond and Y and 𝙈𝘀𝘿 and 𝙕𝙬𝘼. But both of them have different approaches to the mental game. And so far, Spirit's lower bracket run inspires confidence that I don't think they're going to be shaken by a one loss here and there.
Same. And you mentioned 𝙈𝙀𝘾 there, of course. This is his second international, but definitely his most successful one to date. We've highlighted 𝙈𝙀𝘾 a lot throughout this entire tournament because he was mentioned as the best position for right now in Dota 2. TGov, how do you feel he's doing this series so far? Of course, he played a fantastic Rubik just now.
Yeah, I mean, that was the main thing, right? That's Rubik just there. We saw a beautiful little skewer as well on the Rubik, and I think he was just always in position, right? I think Collapse, again, the Magnus, we've said it so many times now, I think when you have this Rubik in your arsenal within the game, it's always so nice. You have the instant lift, you have the steal, like, it puts this pressure. And I think 𝙈𝙀𝘾, if he can find that confidence and he plays that level of Rubik game, suddenly he's going to be going into that next game with that next kind of pool. And maybe we see another Rubik game. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see the same type of draft pattern happen. Maybe Spirit still have the confidence in that Magnus, and then we get to see another Rubik game because, you know, we love to see Rubik at TI. It's a really, you know, a showy-offy hero.
I think they'll only pick Rubik if there's a Mag in the enemy team.
Yes.
I actually think that's the only thing that's going to prompt them to do it. A specific targeted counter pick. I don't think they see enough value in it in the first phase because they've barely played it all tournament. It's just a solution they went to in a time of need here. Which is interesting because it might mean that the bans could also be turned around here a little bit, so Team Spirit can try to take advantage of it with perhaps a Rubik ban could force out a Magnus ban, then you could get the Mars opener if you want to go that route.
That also depends on if 𝙈𝙀𝑑 want to opt for second pick again also.
Yes, depends on pick order, absolutely.
So that response was specifically crafted to, if they pick Mag, then we're going to get our Rubik Undying.
Yeah.
And all this kind of theory crafting we're doing, this is basically where Spirit, they need to kind of overcome the issues that they've had throughout the season against PSG, because throughout, I think it was like ESL Fall, they lost to PSG. I think it was then OGA, they lost to PSG. And this was also with 𝙕𝙬𝘼 as a stand-in. At any major, I believe they drew 1-1. Like, they have never been able to actually beat and overcome PSG. In these series, they've been able to take that first game, that first kind of momentum swing, but it's been the experience of PSG that has come through and shined through that series where they've been able to kind of best Spirit throughout the year. So even though Spirit is up 2-0, or sorry, 2-1 now, it's kind of like the same as the past, right? So this is where Spirit, in this specific game, I feel like if they want to kind of get rid of that, they need to come in with that confidence. They can't let this one game hit them because history, throughout the 2021 season, PSG has always bested them, even if PSG was down.
That is true. Psg.Lgd has bested most teams throughout 2021. They've done incredibly well, of course. You could also say that, yeah, they've done well and they are the end boss, but that also means that in terms of improvement, they didn't have as much need to improve compared to Team Spirit, who has seen tremendous growth throughout the entire season, Tsunami.
That was even mentioned in Slax's interview with 𝑀aposhka previously. He was just like, well, you guys got pretty rocked on day number 1 of group stage, and he was just like, yeah, but we were playing some hard opponents, and progressively, the thing is that most of the time whenever I see development from a team, it comes from the draft. Here it just seems like pure gameplay oriented. They're still playing things that are very comfortable for them, namely Collapse in specifics, but in general, this team gives me a lot of encouragement for the Eastern European region.
And it is an interesting point about the group stage. This is something we've been discussing throughout the years. What is the good way to start off a group stage? Would you rather play the really tough opponents first or last? And if you play them first, maybe you can learn a lot from those games and then improve throughout the group against easier opponents. Whereas if you have them last, maybe you've dropped a game here or there learning against weaker opponents, and then when you're against the Giants, you just get rocked, right? So for Team Spirit, it might have actually worked out really well for them that they played some of the Giants to begin with.
Yeah, and here they go, both now Giants in their own rights, taking their spaces here in the pods. It's game 4 of the Grand Finals, best of 5. Of course, Team Spirit is on match point, but Psg.Lgd might just have found their momentum. found their swing that they need to reverse sweep these grand finals against Team Spirit. Will they be able to do it? We know they have the mental fortitude to. The question is, I think it's all going to come back very simply, very clearly on the draft team.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. You know, I think it's been second pick has won every game so far, I believe. So maybe whoever gets second pick this game, they're going to win it. So maybe a coin toss dictates the winner of TI. I don't know.
Sounds kind of unlikely. I think it's maybe a little bit more depth than that. But
Listen, everything's a 50-50 if you look at it.
Forced
it
50.
Can happen or it doesn't.
That's true.
Speaking of odds, you guys reminded me of something. Because of course we mentioned earlier today that at the start of the day there was still one person on the planet that had their prediction bracket intact, which was ruined by the lower bracket finals going the way of Team Spirit. There were only 4 people in total that only had that had 20 predictions out of the 21 predictions correct. I also have an extra stat. There has been a total of 1.5 million people that have filled in their brackets in the compendium. Of those 1.5 million people, 1.4% said that Team Spirit would be the champion.
That's more than I would expect.
Yeah, that's
More?
higher.
Yeah, that's more than I would have thought. Because you had to place that before the main event even began,
Yes.
right? But you could do it after the groups. Team Spirit, I would have said, what were they? They were 4th in their group, and they looked definitely a step below some of the other teams. But you know, sometimes you got to believe in that miracle run, right? And we're here, and obviously, I think it's also a little bit of like the human. Like just the emotion, you know, you want to. If I'm right, it'll be so cool.
Dude,
you know?
yeah,
So some people just go for
those 1.4% people love a good
it's
story.
The heart. It's the
exactly.
heart. It's not the brain speaking. I would say in a lot of these guesses, but you know, maybe they identified something in the groups. They were like, you know what? I genuinely believe that Spirit can do it, and those people could very well end up being right now.
Yeah, or maybe they heard from a lot of players out there how the scrims were going, because apparently Team Spirit quite good in those, and definitely managed to hold their own against the majority of the teams.
Yeah, but that's like the beauty of Team Spirit, right? I feel like when you look at their roster and actually really dive deep, other than 𝙎𝘶𝘾𝙄𝘼, it's like 2019, 2020. That's when these professional careers actually started, right? I think 3 of the 4 players was on Yellow Submarine, which was kind of like the hidden like trial team for Team Spirit, where like the current manager, I think his name's Corbin, he was the guy that was like kind of sifting through the ranks, like trying to find. I think they had like 80 players in the end trial for this team. They finally kind of crafted this down into this roster, and they eventually brought in Miroslav later. But it's the fact that they went through this kind of trial period, brought in all fresh faces, then brought in 𝙎𝘶𝘾𝙄𝘼 to captain it, and it's got to this position. Like, that alone is an insane story, and I think that is inspirational. The fact that you don't have to be a 10-year veteran to be able to compete at the highest level. You could, you can, like, in a year's time, or 2 years' time, of course, they put so much time to play the game, but you get the idea, right? Like, it's the fact that they can, if they put their minds to it, you can achieve anything, and Team Spirit being in the grand final in itself is an inspirational story.
Absolutely. Also, just the organization itself, of course, has been in Dota since only 2015. So, I mean, that's still 6 years, but compared to Psg.Lgd, is relatively new, of course. But this team, this is the first time this organization has had a horse in the race at TI Tsunami.
Yeah, and it's always encouraging that even during the COVID times of 2020, many organizations were no longer able to support because they were like, we don't really have the infrastructure in this era of online Dota. But Team Spirit stuck through it, and it was a difficult region to do it also. Eastern Europe was dropping organizations left and right. And building off of T's topic also of having so many tryouts, having so many players, it's also very encouraging to see how much of a unit and how friendly all these players are, because in contrast to VP was a group of 5 players who had wanted to play together with each other for a very long time. They were friends before the game started, before the team started. This one seems like quite the opposite, and it's a wonderful thing to see.
Yeah, it's a unity story for sure. It's an example for. Right now, it's like, wait a second, these guys have only been playing for 2 years. That means that they, in 2 years' time, have a chance of being on that main stage. But for now, it is all Team Spirit and Psg.Lgd, and they're ready for Game 4.
Team Spirit!
Dota myself, and I want to ask you guys, how important do you think that victory was for 𝙎𝙁𝘄𝑔D? Like, how is it going to affect their mental game?
it's massive for them. Of course, they have no more room to fail. Whereas Team Spirit, they might get a super challenge coming their way if they don't close it out now. They're gonna have to go into a game 5, same position. You have
伤卡的话，基本上是没有这个时间。我觉得 TS 应该还是会觉得快速解决这个游戏会比较好。打团。
其实我觉得在经验和各方面可能没有老干爹那么老道，就是后期处理很多小细节，可能后期。
Mentally, they need to take something from this. I think we saw a little bit of a better body language, if I want to go that far, and say that they do look like they feel better.
And now we see the switch up, and we were talking about it before the draft started, right?
Yep.
LGD broke Team Spirit Magnus, and I think they broke it in a very convincing way. And now the question was, so the second pick won all 3 games, and both teams kind of realized second pick works better. So far, you know, this can still change. Team Spirit got the choice, which is a very big deal. It's probably not going to decide the outcome of the game, but it gives them definitely like an upper hand. And now with this first pick, LGD, they had to choose. Do we want a mag, or do we want to give them mag and play against it? And then if you do that, mainly the Rubik was the big counter, right? And Team Spirit, they actually decide to not go for the Rubik versus the mag. They end up going for the Wyvern, which so far has been one of the best answers to Tiny. Nevertheless, though, in this opener, Tiny is banned, and they go for the Wyvern anyway. So, yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how they cope with this Magnus, because I don't think the Wyvern quite does it.
Is there a reason you think they banned 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼 over the Wyvern? Because in the previous 2 games, I think LGD had been banning Wyvern. I mean, Seb, you even mentioned to me you thought maybe the Wyvern ban was a mistake.
Yeah.
But in my head, if you're going for Magnus first pick, Wyvern seems like a better ban than 𝙈𝘀𝘶.
I think so. At the same time, I think both bans, to be honest, I want to say I'm not a fan of the 𝙈𝘀𝘶 ban, but then I'm just going to go with I don't quite understand it. I think I'm just missing something here. Yeah.
I think the 𝙈𝘀𝘶 ban would also help them do the Shaker more second phase if they want. I mean, it's a hero that they're also very familiar with. I think the Bramble value is still there. I don't know if it's worth a ban either. I think there's some very powerful game-changing bans that shouldn't be overlooked, but Wyvern might be a very high-rated hero, or should be higher rated than some teams maybe give it credit for. Statistically speaking, has won a lot of games here, and it is a classic mag counter to at least a classic mag gameplay, but still the skewer play is very strong, and we saw it addressed last game where the Ruby got a lot of good lifts on, and also the shard lift eventually makes carries feel really safe against this. So yeah, let's see. And now the Lion is in already from the first phase. Also quite unconventional to open Byron Lion.
Yeah, and there's a lot to say about the Bane pick also, in my opinion. I mean, Team Spirit, the Lion, they didn't get it the last games, and it has been a hero that worked really well for them. The way they play, you know, they play so well around vision. They always set up this Lion for great kind of hexes fight. He starts the fight with hex, and it's hard to stop it. I'm really surprised that the Tide didn't come for Team Spirit. I mean, it's one of Collapse's best heroes. Mars is out. Mag is out by being first picked by LGD, and then the third Collapse hero, which is much more than just a Collapse hero. Like Team Spirit, they play around it, they build around it so well. Is Tide. Tide is a counter to Magnus, and yet they don't go for it. Meaning LGD might have had a second pick, like a first pick. I think they have to. But
right?
if they don't, maybe it means they have a great answer to it, and Team Spirit knows it.
I think they're going to be banning out a lot of team fight. They start with the green probably now, and I think that's also, you're not going to pick mag or Tide yourself next phase. You're most likely going to ban it. You have a Bane and a mag, right? Yeah. Let's see. They don't ban it yet.
So the Doom ban versus mag is a very simple concept. It's like you play a mag lineup, you want to empower a guy, and you want that guy to just go ham. And of course, if he gets doomed, then the whole lineup doesn't make so much sense anymore. You kind of break their way they want to take the fights. I want to talk quickly just about the Bane versus Wyvern and Feeble. It counters Wyvern heal completely. Also, you know, like it's really good at catching Bane, catching heroes. I think it's just a very interesting hero versus Wyvern in terms of how he's going to beat him on the lane, and also has great things to do in the game against him. They do ban the Ember. Obviously, Ember Mag Ember itself already has been a great combo, great hero at, you know, messing with the backline. Lion and Wyvern, they don't want to be messed with. If the supports are allowed to cast their spells, especially in the hands of such talented players as Miposhka and Mira, like, they will win the fight for them.
Yeah,
so
I was expecting to see 3 sort of backline jump bans coming out from Team Spirit. I mean, I feel like Lion Wyvern, it's a bit vulnerable, so you have to like protect your supports with bans. I've always felt when I'm drafting that I don't like picking 2 supports like this, because then you're spending bans and picking supports. But do you think there's like to your knowledge, is there any reason to pick 2 supports like this instead of picking a quarter?
I think it's only if you're afraid that you're not going to get them and you value them so much that you need them. But in my opinion, it's very abusable, and I think LGD will take the bet, like, will get the most out of that.
Interesting to note is ET has not been removed, right? I think the line was also a potential answer to a Mag ET, and they're also rushing it because it's most likely going to get banned next phase. I'm still very surprised that the Tide has not been banned. I'm pretty sure Collapse is going to ask for this hero this game.
They must have they must have an answer, LGD, right? I think if they don't ban it, they for sure know it's coming, or it could be coming. They must be ready for it. That's how I view it. Maybe they're planning on picking the Juggernaut already, or the Sparks.
But they're not in full control either. As Team Spirit do have a ban, they do have like kind of a way to dictate. They banned the Ursa.
But if you think about it, it doesn't sound so Team Spirit-ish to pick the mid or the carry here. Most likely they will pick Collapse. So maybe LGD is like, we don't have to worry about a closing second phase pick.
You're right.
And that anyway they're gonna show it to us here.
That's thinking far ahead, which I'm sure they are. Like this double support opener is vulnerable, very vulnerable in that sense. Is that you're now you still have to reveal, and they're able to get two really strong picks.
Never mind, they actually go for it, and that also is a statement from Team Spirit in which they maybe thought that the Spectre was the bigger problem last game versus the Rubik. You know, these were the answers. And this is exactly what I think should be done. This is precisely what should be done in a Mag versus Spectre game and in a Mag versus Rubik game. This Magnus does not want to RP anybody. He doesn't care about getting his blink cancelled. He doesn't care about getting blink at all. He does not want to skewer anybody. This Magnus is going to empower Luna. He's going to build aura items. They're going to plant the tombstone. Luna's going to hit the buildings, and that is going to be the fight. And heroes like Spectre actually are probably the worst out of all the carry pool to deal with that. You have to fight into this massive ball that is coming, and Spectre hates that.
The only good thing that they have right now is the Winter's Curse. The line is disabled. Most of Iron spells are disabled. Like this playstyle versus playstyle heavily for now favors LGD heroes. Like these heroes on the bottom, they will not enjoy a strong ball coming to hit their tower.
So to make it very simple, basically what has happened in Game 3 and Game 4 draft is, you know, Spirit got their Magnus, LGD broke it, Spirit had to find another way to abuse the Magnus hero, and LGD now are showing how do you turn. They beat Magnus with Spectre, and they also showed them you can beat Spectre with Magnus if you understand what's happening. And I think this draft is what's happening in a nutshell.
Do you think that Axe does anything to stop that plan? Because to me, Axe is very single target, you know, a bit lane focused almost.
I don't think he helps at all. I think this is a hero that does not jump into the ball unless something good is happening already from your teammates. Like they're running away from some Tinker, they're running away from a Phoenix Egg. They have none of that. Lion and Axe are both going to be waiting for LGD to be afraid or overwhelmed by some sort of damage ability or teamfight ability, but it's not coming so far. Like I think Team Spirit need to find a really good pick right now. They need to find a really, really strong pick or something that allows them to then force LGD into their playstyle.
I'm always scared when I have the last pick though. Like if I have the last pick here that has to solve conditions and be good in lane and do so many things, like it's so hard to find that perfect pick, right?
Ideally it's 24 and not 23 especially then.
Yeah.
And he also is going to have to deal with the one-on-one matchup that's going to come his way in. So I want to...
Do you have the final?
Yeah, then the Kumkat. You see this ball, like how do you fight into this? Honestly, it is so hard for heroes to fight into this, and they have literally 0 damage. The Spectre Axe is very low damage. This Axe is very low damage. They have no way.
Only on one finger. Yeah. All the damage they have.
It's gonna be very difficult, and I want to also mention the Undying versus Spectre. What he does is you plant the Tombstone, and now there's a zombie on every Illu, so there's no Desolate damage, meaning Spectre damage drops dramatically. In my opinion, I mean, I'm very happy to be proven wrong, and there's a reason why these teams are playing the finals and I'm not, but I still see this as being a strategical misread from Spirit.
Templar Assassin.
That changes Dota. So we're going for the lane snowball here, right? You want to get the TA timing, snowball off that. You have single target, Spectre, you can take control of the map, you get a lot of pickoffs. I can see that as a possible answer, but it's looking scary for me.
They need to play the TA game right now. The TA is a very fast hero. He can go into Roche early, he can snowball and get openings on the map with Deso Blink. I don't know if he's going to go Aghanims this game so that they can actually do more on the map, but they cannot run into this ball and just click their spells. This is not going to work for Team Spirit.
Yeah, this is not a Spectre versus Magnus game anymore. Like, this is a TA game. They have to win on the back of it, and if they don't, then most likely the game is going to look quite grim for them.
Or they go really late. The Spectre manages to create a lot of chaos, or the TA manages to create a lot of chaos, and Spectre will get bigger and become kind of like a team fight impact, and then maybe you're going to see Axe and Spectre and all these heroes actually come out and shine, but a lot of weight on TA's shoulders.
Yeah, 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 has really done a great job with this draft, in my opinion. I think the momentum right now has completely shifted. But yet again, Team Spirit, incredibly talented players, great laning team, great vision, great execution in team fights. They can pull this off. They definitely can.
Keep an eye on those traps.
And we're getting into game 4 now, but before that, we'll have an interview with Sumi and 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼's coach 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board. Prepare for battle!
And already right on into this one. Sumi Mira's gonna get caught and gonna get killed. How's that for a start, Trent?
Oh, such a good coach. He just gets us there right in time. Well done. As his team will take first blood.
Very, very good start. Play their own game. That's what we're hearing right now from the coach. 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝘼 so often has been the one to be able to lead his team's success and aegis himself, but we'll see if they can do it here again. As nothing to say why, they're all invading. Dude, 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝑑 coming out with some confidence saying, this is our high ground, we're coming to take it.
And this is what you get when you keep coming back with this Undying, right? You're very willing to brawl right now.
So they are gonna stick around for a moment. 𝙎𝙾 spotting out the rest of Team Spirit, moving in that area, getting that extra vision with the passive. And will we see another round of bounty runes stolen away? Collapse walks on in. Why there? Gets the click off win. So 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝑑, they're going to claim 3.
Turns back for more. Wants the brain sap, but can't quite find it here. So yeah, another focus on the lanes for sure here from 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝑑, but the lanes also seeming to be the win condition right now for Team Spirit. I have to say, you know, it's difficult to disagree when there's a combined 5, you know, Aegis is won by that drafting panel.
True enough.
That's a bit rough. So I think they might be onto something for this whole concept of like needing to snowball things pretty hard here, needing to play around their Templar Assassin. And there's always a chance going late, of course, especially with like the way the Templar Assassin now functions because of her Aghanims, where you can actually get like a little bit of a split push out of this hero, which you didn't used to get in the past. But you'd much rather be leading things ahead of the game right now for Team Spirit. And if they don't get that, like, they can easily do that with these heroes on the side of Psg.Lgd.
Totally. The snowball can definitely occur. And I really liked what we sort of heard about the mentality that was going on as well, as we see nothing to say get a D ward there on the Observer ward. Like, you think about the way that Team Spirit has played throughout this. They're playing, you know, just for fun, they say. They're playing without any fear. But for some of these players, that's not an option. 𝙎𝙾, he's been so close before to winning the Aegis and then snatched away at the last second. This is a story for him for redemption.
Yeah, we often hear the pressure of the Chinese community on this team just because, you know, they've obviously looked so good and they've been so close before. And particularly 𝙎𝙾, he's shielded. You know, he's taken some of that blame before in the past, particularly at TI, particularly in a Game 4. You know, the pressure has been there and it's been a bit much at times. But I have to say, after last game, I think he's probably feeling pretty comfortable here with his Luna.
He's looked amazing in that Spectre game, so we'll see how they deal, as 𝙬𝘾 was able to get that pull through and only get the half pull on these creeps connecting it, as 𝑚apochka wants to keep that pressure on 𝙬𝘾. Needs to be careful here. Obviously, only level 1, so doesn't have that Splinter Blast yet on the Wyvern, but they will throw out one more dagger on his way back home.
Just to send him all the way back here. And now, yeah, Collapse. So we talked a lot about Collapse and his hero pool. And, of course, you've heard a lot, I'm sure, about the Mars. Heard a lot about this Magnus that's looked pretty good. But the other hero that he has played a ton of games on professionally is the Axe. Not a hero that's been very big at this TI, though.
No, but can often make those huge plays if you can get the opening. The panel did talk a lot about how maybe there's going to be some overlapping things going on with Mira and the Axe, both trying to find that big jump.
That Seb guy? Oh,
yeah.
That's that guy!
Yeah, that's the one.
With the Axe, wow.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But we'll see how it goes here in this one. As you can see already, the chase down Faith Beyond taking a little bit of a beating here on this Magnus. XinQ moves into position though, and at least for the moment, you can see that Spectre taking a little bit of heat early. No. Not able to get all those last hits yet. Collapse also trying to go toe-to-toe with Ame in the bottom lane on that Luna.
Yeah, there's a reason that statistically Undying has almost always been one of the absolute best heroes versus the Spectre. Whenever you're just talking about like just raw data in terms of games played, and that's because like you get some pressure in lane sometimes if you get this sort of a matchup. That's always nice, right? Spectre likes to be left alone. But more importantly, when you get into the mid game with the Tombstone drop down, you actually get all these zombies popping up, right? And it really ruins the team fight for the Spectre, especially when you're trying to deal some damage there with the Desolate.
You can see a bit of a rundown again as Toro playing as far forward as he can, but has to be very wary of those skewer backs that we've seen time and again, is why we'll get a little bit of a chase onto Mira. The Lucid Beam and dead. Why just takes him down?
Collapse just can't do anything. Just like, sorry, you know, I'm just going for some creeps here. It does have 20 last hits compared to the 9 of Ame, so you know, that's a sacrifice that you're willing to make.
He's hitting pretty hard. Already the Ring of Health done. Obviously came there with that Quelling Blade and a lot of armor. Collapse having a good one on the Axe in the laning stage. This is what they need.
And that is actually a really interesting one too, right? Actually going for this this Vanguard, because you know a lot of heroes they're going for the Helm. They're building into something else based off of the Helm, the Iron Will. But Collapse able to go for this cheaper Vanguard, but for Axe, that's an item that can actually accelerate your farm quite a bit with the Ancients.
Why? Get chased a little bit there, but will back out afterwards. And you can see at least now the very slight lead that we're seeing into the favor of 𝙎𝙬𝘼. Nothing really to write home about. Both the mids doing fine. We haven't really seen either that many stacks on the Ancients. None done up yet. As some good damage there out on the Bane. Gonna chase down. Lucid Beam. Will it be enough? I don't think so. Why? Oh, maybe it will. All right, the rotation comes in. And they will be able to keep their Bane alive.
Yeah, he was buying out there. He wasn't sure he was going to live, so he's going to run all the way home. But there are the stacks that you were just mentioning. A double done there by Miposhka in the dire jungle. So something for this Templar Assassin to fall back to. They want to stack her up nice and early. When you're trying to play around this Templar Assassin, you can stack your Ancients, you can stack all of your neutrals across the map, and she can cleave through them very, very quickly. Just trying to align these earlier items like the Blink or the Deso, maybe a Falcon Blade in these times right now. So they need to enable her to get this game online.
Yeah, and of course, then if you're 𝙎𝙬𝘼, you're going to look to try and go in there and invade those stacks and get some damage dealt. But already, a Torrent combo comes out. Y makes that move towards the mid lane that he always does. And just trying to burn through the refraction instances and make Toronto Tokyo a little bit less comfortable.
Yeah, not a matchup we see all too often, honestly, with the Kunkka and the Templar, but you do have that interaction, as you're mentioning, where you can get multiple instances of damage from the Torrent, so burning through that, and, well, Toronto Tokyo, I'm going to come take a look here and say, oh, yeah. Nicely done. I think I'll stack this up one more time.
And Mira also stacks all across the map.
And what I really like too is this defensive ward that they have right next to that stack they're doing, because you often see this ward used like late game when you're talking about like Roche and everything, you're trying to cover that, but a lot of teams are coming in contesting neutral stacks right now. It's one of the themes of this tournament is up top of it. That's another good theme.
Toro, is he gonna live though? With the cold embrace, they don't feel confident going for him.
On the level 6 rotation from the Kunkka, very disappointing to not get the kill. And they can't even really follow up with the tower pressure, but on the other side of the map.
Collapse, gonna take some damage there. Creeps run off of him. And with a couple quick hits, will they have another Lucid Beam for the finish? Vanguard keeping him very... Yes, it goes away for the spin. Has to be careful on Y. There's the Fairy Fire living, but the Brain Sap. Enough to finish him.
I can tell you, this guy must not have got very many Crimson Witnesses, because he is not lucky.
No. Not enough spins there for the Axe, and a good usage of the Nightmare to take those creeps off to stop the potential counterplay.
Well, they get their kill in the bottom lane, but the missed gank on the Spectre gave so much free time to Toronto Tokyo. As again, another stack. And well, if you don't go for that kill, the other option for the Kunkka is moving through that jungle, doing that rotation, checking out the stack, seeing what's there, maybe stealing a couple, of course. And yeah, will surely make his way over there. And why I'm just going to say, I think we'd like to maybe get an eye on these ones at the very least. We'll block for future stacks, but can they even come and contest this?
I mean, there's already a lot of gold built into that. That's going to be such a big injection. And the thing about the TA is you just take it so quickly, and maybe if they pair together with Collapse, already having that Vanguard done.
Yeah, it's a tough call too, right? Like, because if you want to move in there, let's say, Psg.Lgd, oh good, we have time to think about it at the very least. You have the night vision bonus.
Right.
That's there, right? Of course, that's going to be expiring soon. You got 2.5 minutes to work with. You're not going to have any Eclipse early, though, because, you know, you're obviously stacking into the Lunar Blessing, you're getting yourselves your Glaives, but you also have Undying, you have Kunkka. I would say it's very tempting for them to come and contest this, and at least, like, try and mess with them to try and get some of the XP.
Well, they're going to drop the boat already. Mira a little bit off the mark with the stun, but will eventually, well, go down? Yes. 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 finds the kill, but this is, again, buying that space for Toronto Tokyo, and this is in vision.
Soul Rip to secure here, and 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄 is like, I'm getting over there, you know, I want to steal some of this. Gonna find a stacked up neutral camp there, too.
This is just all they're focused on. And
Here's Tombstone in 3 seconds.
Why? Are they really going to go for the
I mean, a lot of them are really low. This is pretty, I say do it. Yeah.
𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄, he goes for it. Getting a couple already.
And the Fairy Stringer for the team, the 2 supports. There's an Axe and a Templar Assassin.
Oh my god, they're just going to get him.
There's another lanes.
I mean, this is huge. You're also already up 3,000 net worth right now on LGD, but they see this taken, and
all right, he got a lot of them though. Now, can you get out? That's the question.
I mean, at least one of these heroes is going to die. 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄 chased on. Surely at least one of them goes down, but maybe not. Gitoro pops out that haunt. The chase down. Mira's there as well. Cold Embrace. The back away. They used haunt for this, and I don't know if they're getting anybody.
Is there anything more classic than LGD and their Undying and their phase boots though?
Oh,
like it almost gets them out.
And they clean out that hard camp also. LGD are all over this. They take down the Undying, but lose out on a bunch of other net worth.
They force so many heroes to respond. Look at the top lane. The Helm of the Dominator, Faith Beyond. He's taking the tower.
This is clean stuff. LGD, they found their mojo. This is what they needed.
That is a large lead. 4K right now at 9 minutes. Like, oh, yeah, and look where it is. I mean, it's just all stacked on the cores right now for Psg.Lgd.
Poshka scouting out. Y off to the side. Toro there as well.
Haunting.
He's looking for it. They move over. Faith Beyond's here as well. And with this Helm of the Dominator creep, it should be enough. And also coming in to contest this, nothing to say.
Well, it's
taking away the jungle.
It's so cheap, right? It's just a nightmare into a torrent. They're threatening the whole time. We've got RP. We've got boat. You don't want to come contest this. They're going to have Fiend's Grip pretty soon here as well for Y. As he goes for a real deep ward. That was pinged though. All right, yeah, they have an idea that that's there.
That ward is going to scout it out.
Yeah, good thing that was there. So those very deep wards on the earlier end will be instantly TP'd to by Poshka, and just give them that. I don't think so.
Yeah, see, this is the LGD we expected to see. Up 5,000 net worth right now at 10 minutes in. What a turnaround that they've been able to have. As this series was looking dire straits for them after the first 2 games, but now coming into this, game number 4, everything's going their way.
And well, in the past, what has turned these games around for Team Spirit, it's been Collapse, you know, showing up, making the plays, but he's got some time. Wants to get that Blink Dagger done on the Axe first. In the meantime, there are a lot of heroes coming to his mid tower.
Oh my god, they're bringing numbers. Everybody's here. Poshka, level 5 on that Wyvern, going to try and throw out these Splinter Blasts and slow things down as much as possible, but that tier 1 tower is already dead.
Yeah, they're just holding the Tombstone. Again, such a great job of just like not expending anything, right? They're just threatening. They're just holding all this strength.
And Collapse, they caught him again. The Nightmare's there. Do they have enough for the kill though?
Oh yeah.
They are going to chase him down. Wait for it. Fiend's Grip afterwards. Easy as pie. They take him down. This is a stomping we got right here. Toro is going to need to play his heart out right now.
He is so far behind on me.
It's insane.
He's almost getting doubled up on right now.
Like, the Undying is almost caught up to him in terms of net worth with that Tombstone dropping in the Ancient Steel. Such an impressive performance for them in Team Spirit. They just really don't have an answer right now.
It felt like they got lost halfway through the draft and they still haven't found their way.
Well, and you think about that draft, right? They burned through so much of that reserve time early on. And in the end, we're left trying to find a perfect hero, and so far the TA hasn't been able to do it for him.
Part of that is just that it's such a one-dimensional plan that not only can you like prepare during the draft as to what to do, but in the actual game, like they were so quick to come in and ward up these Ancients. Sure, they missed out on some of the plays in the top of some of those neutrals, but the contest in there, the space made for Faith Beyond to get absolutely massive. No one is even contesting Ame at all, just freeform throughout the jungle. And it has to be like the biggest Axe Blink reveal and Deso reveal on a TA of all time.
Yes. They've got to get a ton here on Team Spirit. And of course, that also means that LGD need to be the ones that run into them to allow for that fight to happen. Not an easy ask, but again, you've got some big combos here, right? You've got that Winner's Curse into a big call, afterwards Lion Stun. The combo is there if they can find it.
The fights are so hard though.
Looking for it right at the start. The boat's going to come out. And now the slowdown. Mira in some trouble. Collapse back behind the tower. Also getting ran down by nothing to say. He needs to TP out of here.
He bought his blink.
Yeah, he's
no one else died.
As long as they're able to get away, that should be good enough for them. So they get the kill. Faithion finds it, but also on the other side, Y kills off Mira. 8-1 to start this game.
Yeah, throws down a ward to secure the kill. Mira, of course, instantly noticing that, but I think Y's going to call it worth, just to make the tower easy to take. But Postgrad was thinking about leaving himself in behind there and maybe finding a Winner's Curse if they want to actually contest to the tower, but I think the call's been made from the rest of Team Spirit that they're just not ready for that yet.
Yeah, they need those items. Need to hit that timing.
7-kill lead, 7,000 gold lead, and Ame's still hitting creeps.
I mean, he's just doing what he needs to in this one. Taking a look already at that win probability, they're heavily into the favor of LGD.
Put that away. Dom, come on. We got a game going here.
My goodness gracious. The Nightmare is down. Poshka gonna trade it over onto him. They have this blink. Want to reveal, but the only people down here are supports, and that's not big enough. Ward also covering it all. But maybe now Team Spirit can at least try and pressure and get this tower and get some momentum going for themselves, because if they don't get something going soon, this game is going to go completely off the rails.
I mean, you can already see them struggling here, though, right? Like, they're bringing everyone down here. They're looking for that fight.
Yeah.
Everything that they need. It has to be perfectly layered. The call, the curse, trying to find the sight lines for the Templar Assassin.
Oh, and Toro caught. Fiend's Grip is there, and no help nearby at all. They're going to kill off that Spectre.
I love 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 doing that, just dropping the Tombstone. It's just such an important kill for them that they're willing to throw at everything that they have right there.
And immediately afterwards, they're thinking about going to Roche. I mean, why not at this point?
They could Roche, they could start pressuring that tier 2 top, but the tier 2 top is a lot riskier, right? You're going to have this attempted call from the Axe. Also, they actually don't have great vision right now onto that high ground, so theoretically, if there was something there from Team Spirit, maybe they'd have a chance, but perhaps they just have the really good read that they are all in the bottom lane right now, waiting for them to come to that bottom tower. And it's taken so fast.
So Roche gonna be claimed, and again, Team Spirit needing to find an answer as LGD want to try and close this one out. Put themselves in a dominant position. And already Y is gonna head up here, try and get down a deep ward. We'll see if that one bears any fruit, as LGD will retreat back, get their next set of items, and then be ready to go.
Very reminiscent of Game 2. Now, mind you, it happened a lot later in the game, but essentially we got to the point where Team Spirit were the ones just running around with this Luna and looking like, you know, what are you going to do as LGD? You have to wait for this perfect moment to find your fight. Team Spirit now find themselves in that situation. And one thing that they obviously recognized when they played that Luna strat was just stay together. Don't let the pickoffs happen. Can they find a pickoff right here? No. Look how safe Nothing to Say is playing there with the X.
𝙎𝙬𝘾𝙄𝘼 might be the one that gets found. The jump forward call, it's off the mark. And instead, he just heads off to the side. There's the route. Collapse has to back out of here. I mean, there's more people coming nearby. Tokyo gets skewered back. He's caught alone. Can they kill him off? RP, but the Winner's Curse is trying to turn this. Boat afterwards finishes off that TA, but it's not enough. It's not nearly enough. And if they're not careful, they might lose more. The chase forward Hex, Mira, X the spot as they'll pull the Lion back and find another kill. LGD, no mercy. It's looking rough. It is looking rough for Team Spirit.
Is that a Spirit Breaker in that draft?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is? Because something happened.
They turned up on Psg.Lgd. They were not going to go out like that.
Well, it's looking like a completely different series at this point. I mean, Team Spirit, you know, the fun loving, we're just having a good time. good times might have come to an end right now, at least in this game. And you know, it gets to the point where as the game continues, you just wonder like how much is this impacting the looking like potential Game 5.
Potentially. I mean, again, you never count this out. We've seen teams come back from more than this against 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 to win a TI. But can they do it again here? Spectre, so often that late game answer, and they just need to find a good fight on Team Spirit to pull this one back. The question is, will 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 give it to them? Underneath the ward, this could be the way it starts.
They've played so ridiculously clean this game, though. Just really not offering up anything over to Team Spirit. Now, they do have some good vision down in that bottom jungle. If there was ever a chance to go for something, it's probably towards that part of the map right now. But Faith_Beyond not acting like it, you know? Sitting directly on a trap, and they still can't go.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to really fight into this. Oh, Toronto-Tokyo, skewer! Oh, it pulls him back in! They'll find the TA, wants to get out of here, blink away. Oh, just like that, Toronto-Tokyo able to get a little bit of separation, but they still have that night vision, and Faith_Beyond with the chase down. They got him there to the side. Nobody coming to help the TA. Toronto-Tokyo falls again. 12 kills, 12K gold lead. 𝙎𝙬𝘼, keep up that momentum.
Team Spirit are waiting for the Aghanims on the Spectre. That is going to be their goal play. They might have a blade mill there too.
He just gets caught again.
Until then, it's just throwing out heroes, you know? Take me. Try and slow down this tower push.
How close are we now to that Aghanim Scepter? It's what, 50 gold away for this Spectre? Again,
I mean, it's been a fantastic item, but as you heard Seb and NoTail say, the damage is lacking.
Oh, man.
And they needed that early lead to actually provide some damage. They needed the items on Team Spirit. They don't have the items.
Right. Well, and it's such a good answer here, right? With that Undying being able to sit right up front there with the Tombstone, and then Luna can hit the tower, because the way that Team Spirit win the fight is like when chaos happens and you get a giant curse or something, and they're just not being presented that opportunity.
Although, if there is one hero that's very good at breaking formations, it is Spectre, right? The Haunt comes out, there's question marks everywhere, you're not sure where the real one is, and then it's providing vision to the rest of Team Spirit, and then you find the jump. And Axe, a hero that, with the blade mill, can turn some of your advantage into a disadvantage.
Looking for something here. It's just a shadow step to start. Now the call. Afterwards, they have Hunt starting to bring 𝙎𝙬𝘼 down a little bit low. Aegis, 30 seconds left, and now they're leaving him alone for the moment. Turning on to the other supports. Collapse going to TP out, but it's not going to happen. Collapse will go down, and that fight doesn't work. Toronto-Tokyo pulled back in. Refraction gone. And now the chase down happens yet again. Mira hoping to salvage this, but it's not going to happen. One by one. All of Spirit go by the wayside.
And that was going into a fight with 30 seconds left on the Aegis too. Oh, so just like, even if you get some of those kills, the reset potential there from 𝙎𝙬𝘼. But Team Spirit, you know, they felt the situation that they had to find some sort of a fight maybe outside their base. It's not a good one though.
And they used the winner's curse in that last fight. Yeah. That is really painful. Maybe if there was an opportunity right here, but jump in! The Tumbler's toy, are you kidding me? Faith_Beyond able to make the play happen. And now focusing down the barracks at 20 minutes. 17-1.
I mean, Collapse is smoked up here, but I don't even know if there's a play. Obviously, you have to wait till the Templar Assassin's back.
They're hoping for something, anything at this point.
They just got mana for Shadow Step.
There's a chance, there's a hope, but will it actually come to fruition? I am not sure. Team Spirit just do not have an answer at all.
They popped drums, jumped them, Collapse.
Oh my goodness. They just have to give it up. There's no other answer. There's still a tier 1 down bottom at the very least, but I mean, at this point, 𝙎𝙬𝘼 could turn on the tier 4s maybe.
I love how this team plays Undying. The 5, the 4. Like, not a lot of teams really bringing this hero out, but you know, you get this movement speed, so you can get the ulti off the Flesh Golem, you're just getting the debuff down, having the drums to like benefit this early sieging ability that they have, as well as the Solar Crest too. So, you know, so many teams looking for these saving heroes and empowering heroes on like the one big carry, and Undying just looking like a perfect answer when you also have the Spectre in the game.
And I just think, again, like, what a redemption arc this has been for 𝙎𝙬𝘼 to be able to pull this back on that Spectre in Game 3 and now in Game 4 on the Luna, playing incredibly clean Dota, constantly 4-0-7.
Yep. Does not want to repeat history here.
Oh god, did I caster curse them? Oh no. Oh no. Surely
it's
it won't happen.
21K lead at 21 minutes. I don't think you have that much power.
I don't think anybody does. We'll see though.
Hold on, let me check Kyle's Twitter.
Yeah.
Just make sure.
Mira gets the Hex off, but they caught Collapse. Mira's going to try and TP out of here. Does manage to escape, but the axe is down. Toronto Tokyo, cancels TP? Okay.
Where are you gonna go?
I mean, I guess that, yeah.
There's, they got some towers go through. You're not gonna do anything. You might as well try and catch the next wave.
That's true. Fair enough.
Now where do you go is a bit of a question. I'll give you that.
You might just be dead if you're not careful. Toronto Tokyo, got to be careful there.
Stand perfect. Oh, I know this one from my pups. Yeah. Got to keep the GPM up,
Mid lane, they got him. Toro forced to jump away from this one, but nothing to say. Still got him in the sights. Able to throw out that Earth Spike, but they're hunting for more.
Beyond's coming.
Oh, good blink away by Mira, and Toro able to get the TPL, but Mira, the one that's going to pay for the sins, will end up falling there to 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼, and now they're heading up again.
Beyond has had this troll for so long. I feel like he wants to end the game with it, like reward it for its servitude.
Well, this might just be the time. I mean, 𝙈𝘀𝘿 is up there.
Send them in.
Roche is capable of respawning, but they're looking to just try and end this right now. No Magnus to pull him back into the fountain. There's the jump to start it.
All right, this has to be the jump, right?
Miposhka behind. He's got Winner's Curse, waiting for an opportunity, but can they get an opening?
There's no TA for 10 seconds. That might be an issue.
It's dangerous. Yeah, they don't quite have enough. And TA, without a quick way to get in there, they'll have to let it go for the moment. But Miposhka, they've still got a ward here. And now they don't.
Collapse has been smoked for so long.
They just can't find an opening. 𝙎𝙬𝑑, just this impenetrable wall that doesn't break formation.
Yeah, they just keep popping them, but they can't find their fight. They might even be running low at this point.
19-1. So now, with Roche respawned, 𝙎𝙬𝑑 dotting their I's and crossing their T's and looking to close this one out with the shard in tow.
This is an emphatic victory at this point. This is not the way you want to go into a Game 5 from Team Spirit. It's one thing to just have a loss and sort of be like, okay, well, we couldn't close it out in 3, but that's cool. We're gonna do it in 4, whatever. You remember those 2 games, guys?
Right.
They
seem a long time ago.
They seem like a very long time ago at this point.
Faith_Beyond pulls back there. Eul Scepter afterwards, but nobody's close enough to turn that into a fight. Another Shadow Step used just to slow down Faith_Beyond from going in for another round of this.
Toronto Tokyo's drawn on the map down there. Throwing every trap possible to hold on that one tier 2, right? Force them to go for the throne.
And they're gonna do it. Box right on in.
Happy to oblige.
𝙈𝘀𝘿, he's ready. He wants to not relive the ghosts of the past. He wants to close this game 4 out here in style. And so far, he's doing it. Turns now onto the Ancient Hot Out afterwards. Where's the fight? I'm not seeing it. Going deathless so far. They turn now onto Y. Just grip to the side. Oh, the catch onto Collapse. Y's not dying. Nobody's dying. They only fall again as 𝙎𝙬𝘼 is called 23-3. A statement from 𝙎𝙬𝑑.
Did he get a blink call?
It didn't happen. It was just too good.
The whole game, that was crazy. They never came online, quite frankly. Quite frankly, this lineup was not allowed to operate in any facet whatsoever for Team Spirit. And it may be even in game score. It's 2-2, but it's not feeling like there's much of a chance right now.
I mean,
you got to regroup.
No-Tail and Seb, they were talking about body language coming into that. How about this body language right here?
That's confidence right there.
𝙈𝘀𝑿's doing the Arthur hands. He's ready. He's ready to go.
Little skip in the step there, yeah.
They're ready for
they're feeling a lot better.
A TI repeat
but
potentially.
Hey, there you go.
All right.
They're okay, though.
We'll see if they can pull it back again. But what an unbelievable experience, again, for 𝙎𝙬𝑑 to be able to pull this back from that 2-0 start. Just incredibly impressive stuff.
All right, it's okay, though. You just say, it was draft, guys. I think we can all agree the draft looked rough. Thus, the game looked rough. So you go forward, you shift things up, and Team Spirit will hopefully give us more of a challenge for 𝙎𝙬𝑑 in Game 5.
Optimistic as always. We'll see if it ends up playing out, but for now, let's head back to the panel.
The series is tied 2-2. We will go into a Game 5 here in these grand finals at the International 10. I'm joined by Psg, 𝐹𝑒, and Jenkins, and we're going to break down that Game 4. Jenkins, I want to start with... Well, let's start with Team Spirit doubling their skill score there in the final second.
I don't know if there's any breaking down these games. I legit don't. This shit is scripted. It's scripted. How does every TI end like this?
No, it
At
doesn't,
some
though.
point, it's got to stop. I don't understand. It's like the amount of people that came up to me today, and it's like, okay, so Secret was supposed to win. Everybody thought Secret was going to win, right? And then we get into the grand finals, and it's like, oh, LGD is going to shellac them. And then after game one, it's like, oh my God, dude, LGD's lost it. They're done. And then that happens. Literally, whatever you think will happen won't happen. So what do we do? How can I break that down?
It's your job.
I'm sorry. I just can't believe it. Year after year, TI, it just delivers.
It is just delivering, Effie. It's a great series so far.
Well, there's so much to say, but I just want to comment on the mental fortitude that Psg.Lgd just showed, because a lot of us in the green room, we were sitting and watching the game, right? And after those 2 stomps, quite frankly, by Spirit, we were just thinking, did they do it? Did they mentally break down Psg.Lgd? But no, they walked off, they regrouped. Everyone thought they were so stubborn with that Magnus, but they beat them.
Nobody expected that. Everybody was like, oh my God, they let Magnus through again. They're so stubborn. What are they doing? Literally everybody was wrong. I can tell you, I was sitting in that stadium. I was sitting in that stadium. Every single person was saying, what is wrong with them? I was reading Twitter. What is wrong with them? They let the Magnus through.
But that's why they're on Twitter. That's why they're in the stadium, and that's why they're not playing, Brian.
Experts.
Okay,
Experts.
so we talk about the fact that they lost the draft in Game 4, but we have to think about the mind games coming through this entire 4-game series so far, and they got Mag, lost with it, to a Spectre, and then they're like, oh, we'll give LGD Mag this time. We'll pick Spectre. But it was the Undying with the Spectre that was really causing the issues, and it's just not. They lost to the way that they lost, which has to be some sort of mental defeat. I hope whatever I said made more sense than what Jenga has been talking about.
Nothing makes sense. We're pretending. This is a facade. Nobody knows what's going on right now. Probably not even LGD or Spirit.
I think they have a little bit of an idea what's going on, right? So they let the Magnus through twice. They lost to it. I think they just didn't expect Spirit to be so strong. Like, they were coming off of their win against Secret, and they were feeling themselves, quite frankly.
Yeah.
They were playing so well. They kept up the tempo. They cast all their spells correctly. They played with confidence. But that Mag loss, that first one, broke them. And then to take it the next game and beat them with it convincingly, I'm worried about Spirit's mental state right now, actually, because this is where the difference in experience comes in between these 2 teams. Spirit are very young, and they probably didn't expect to make it this far. While LGD, they've been training for this for 2 years. So.
Yeah, I mean, they have, so far, there's been 2 TIs before this. This is the 3rd TI that there's a Game 5 in a Grand Finals, and Psg.Lgd has already experienced this. They were already in a Game 5, Brian. With 𝙈, actually, as well.
It's a little bit different this time because in the previous one, they were up 2-1 going into Game 4. They were up by 15K, I believe, in Game 4, and OG made this crazy comeback. And instead, they've got all the momentum going in. I feel like they feel strategically superior. They're like, oh, those first 2 games, like whatever happened, shake it off. They had only lost 2 games throughout the entirety of a TI prior to that series. So I think LGD is in a way better spot going into Game 5.
Dude, they looked broken. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I saw the cameras on them, and I was thinking, oh, God, they're done. They looked so broken. They looked sad. Their eyes were watery. And then that happens. I think the Tinker game was like a huge turning point. I think that draft was just a lot easier to execute. It gave them the taste for blood again. And then in the next game, it's just like, they're just back to like prime LGD. It's what they said in an interview. Like, they learned from the losses, and they're grateful to the enemy teams for giving them the opportunity to learn. And that's what I felt after the Tinker game.
Yeah, we heard from 𝙈𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 right after the draft, and he was saying that some of the things that he told the team in between games before Game 4 was, don't be afraid. If we lose together, we lose together. And otherwise, we always have next year, Effie.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how you want your coach to be. But I think that right now, LGD are just in a position to take it all. And as amazing as Spirit's run has been, they've got the momentum now on LGD. And just hopefully, regardless of the outcome, both teams should be proud of themselves for what they've done today.
Yeah, we've highlighted Team Spirit a lot because obviously they were on match point for 2 games now. We are going to highlight Psg.Lgd a little bit more because now they are also on match point, and one of these 2 teams will take home $18 million and the World Championship and the Aegis. A lot on the line for this one game of Dota 2. So far, we only have 5 players in the world that have a 2-time TI championship to their names. If Psg.Lgd were to win this game 5, we'll have 7 in total because Faith Beyond and Y were on the winning roster of Wings in TI6. And they will also have a 100% win rate at TI because they have only played that TI6, Brian. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, they're doing the OG, but instead of taking like 6 months off, they take 4 years off and just come back and win another TI. But you know, we talk about the money. I'm a little bit of a math nerd myself. We're looking at $13 million between the 2 teams, between first and second.
Yes.
If it's like an average 40-minute game, that's about $300K a minute that they're playing the game of Dota. If you average 10 CS a minute, that seems pretty reasonable. That means every time you hit a creep, that's $30,000 if you win this game.
That's such a carry. That is such a carry way of breaking it down. Okay,
Just
let me tell you
imagine
from
that.
the
30K.
perspective.
30K.
For every death, it's $300,000 for every death you feed. There's the offlane perspective.
It's more like $1 million. You're not gonna. Actually, for you, you'd probably die that many times. Never.
He's right.
No, there is a lot of pressure indeed with the money on the line, with the prestige on the line as well, and on the flip side of perhaps having a 2-time champ, Nothing to Say has not been at a single TI yet. This is his first one, and he has a potential to become the next Royal Roader. The last Royal Roader we had was Thompson at TI8. Before that, it was GH at TI7. And before that, it was the full Wings lineup. But it is pretty crazy because all those names we hear time and time again, we talk about Thompson, GH. They're some of the best players in their roles, still are. And it just gives me a lot of giddiness for the season and the seasons to come, Effie.
And just speaking of Nothing to Say, he rose to prominence and kind of made himself known through Tinker. He was just a pub star who spammed Tinker, much to everyone's annoyance. And the hero that kept them in the TI Grand Finals was Tinker.
Turning point. Yep.
It's just everything goes back full circle. Every TI has some kind of magical story, and it's just incredible that we can see this level of Dota come out consistently from new players every year, it feels like.
It's very reminiscent of Thompson, like Pugna.
I got a
breaking
thought.
it out in the last series.
All right.
Oh, no.
I believe that if you can turn around a best of 5 like this, if you do this when every CS is worth 30,000 goddamn dollars, then you should receive an honorary PhD in psychology from like Harvard or wherever.
I don't know if it works that way, but I will tell you that in TI Grand Finals history, it's never happened that someone did a reverse sweep. This year alone, we did see the reverse sweep with EG versus IG in the Grand Finals of the Singapore Major. Of course, it all started with that question mark.
They should get master's degrees. This is PhD.
I mean, it is being able to recover from that level of pressure and stress that is on that final game. But I also think that it is, with a game 5, Effie, it's very simple for Team Spirit to also probably reset because they have also been in this situation before.
I think every team is able to reset in a way, but we don't actually know what goes on behind the scenes in their, I don't know, in their little powwow, I guess, after the game goes on. But what we know right now is Psg.Lgd beat them when they were playing their hero and then took their hero and beat them with it. And now they've got the 2-game win momentum. And they also have first choice, right, for the next game. So it's looking a lot harder for Spirit than it is for Psg.Lgd this game.
It is looking pretty rough for Team Spirit as well, but they also know they've got a full region behind them. They are the first Eastern European team to be standing on these Grand Finals since 2013. It's been a long time coming. That being said, Psg.Lgd, of course, also having a lot of pressure because it has been quite a while since a Chinese team lifted that Aegis, and they know what it would mean to not just their organization and their team, but to the entire country if they were to indeed lift that Aegis. We'll see who gets to do it, though. We'll see who will take home that Aegis. It is going to be either Team Spirit or Psg.Lgd. It is one game of Dota 2. And I think it's going to be very important for both these teams to strip away these Grand Finals to just relax. We see a lot of players, by the way, always take off their shoes. You know, they gotta recreate how they feel when they play at home. In the past, we have had Ice taking off his pants because he preferred to play in his boxers, and that's allowed because you just gotta make yourself comfortable. It is very important. Also, interesting fun fact for you all at home. I know you see sometimes players play with these heat packs. They've got these little heat packs to make their fingers warm. It is not actually cold in these booths. It's not cold. The reason they use these heat packs is because adrenaline makes your blood vessels tighter because, you know, you gotta pump that blood real fast. But your extremities, your fingers, you need those to play the game. It's a sport for your hands, so you gotta have those heat packs to make your blood vessels wide again. Did you know that, Jenkins?
No, I had I have very bad knowledge of anything medical, which is why I was saying they should receive PhDs in medicine.
Those aren't even medical. PhDs are not medical.
Well, whatever. I think they should get a PhD in whatever the hell they want if they're going to reverse sweep a TI. But also, I feel like Team Spirit had all the odds stacked against them just a few games ago. And they're in the same position. So what the hell do we know?
They've been in several Game 3s, and we've watched them improve throughout the entire season. You've had the one team that's just consistently at the top, and the other one that's been rising from 4th place in Season 1 of DPC, where they didn't even qualify for the major. And it's all here.
Qualifier team, bro.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you brought that up, Psg, because even if you look at their DPC performance, they've just been slowly getting better. They've just been this team lurking in the shadows. Throughout the Animator, they impressed. They beat Liquid in their tiebreakers, right? They did so well in groups, better than anyone else expected. And in the DPC Season 2, they almost beat VP. It was such a close game. And when we come here, everyone's whispering about how Spirit have been so strong in scrims, but people kind of just let this team grow into something big without us even knowing. It's just been awesome to watch.
An actual dark horse, not just a team where you don't want to feel bad by being like they're going to get eliminated. They're an actual dark horse
We
team.
can call them a dark dragon because they do have the dragon logo that is like black and white, so they're actually like dark dragon, right?
They've earned it at this point.
They really did. Also, want to remind people of the words that Collapse had said right before their tournament. He was prompted with the question upper bracket, lower bracket, and he, without hesitation, said lower bracket. So he likes to be with the back against the wall, Brian. It makes him perform better.
Just give him a new hero. You know, give a new hero to Yatoro. I give Collapse, the Mag, the Tide. I don't care what's happened up until this point. Pull out your TI8 OG. Pick exactly what your players want to play. I don't think strategy is going to matter nearly as much as we maybe give it credit for when this much is on the line.
Agreed. Pick your best heroes, and that's how they beat Secret today. They just pulled up. The draft was looking grim until they pulled out the last pick Storm for Toronto, Tokyo, and they absolutely destroyed with it. So just go for comfort, play like you're at home, and see what happens.
So you want Silent and 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 to just go in those booths and say, guys, Game 5 of this TI10 Grand Finals, everything's on the line. What do you want to play? Is it that simple? Maybe. It could be that simple. We are going to find out what is going to happen in this 5th and deciding and final game of TI10. Let's go.
Team Spirit versus Psg.Lgd. Grand Finals, Game 5.
Hello everyone, welcome to the final draft panel of TI10 because this is Game 5. One game to decide the entire tournament between these two teams.
This is literally the best game Dota has to offer.
It is. This is the best moment of the tournament. What do you guys hope to see from both teams coming in?
You want to go?
I mean, first and foremost, the best game of Dota possible, I think. That is what I want to see. I want to see both teams getting their comfort zone. I want to see both teams getting solid drafts and being able to fight full force and, you know, show the world and show themselves and us, like everybody, what they have to offer. That's what I want to see.
I mean, this is one of life's true magical miracle moments. This is people working their lives, years and hours and so much.
They did ban Tiny, sorry. They did not ban Tiny.
Yeah, oh wow. They actually decide, okay, but Mag is also in. So this is something that we know that LGD, they chose first pick.
Yeah.
And most likely they were trying to force this Mag for nothing trade, or they believe that these guys were not going to counter the Mag correctly. But now Team Spirit is changing it up one more time. which is really going to be awesome. But yeah, back to what I was going to say, because this is back against the wall for both teams. This is like the most pressure these people have probably ever been under. So close twice now. For you to show the world what you can do in Dota.
And it's amazing to witness, and I think we're gonna get it because
他也
these.
说了，猛犸通火支援，
对，通火支援感觉科学点。但是他不拿小精灵，小精灵他可能要办，他不只要办小精灵，他肯定还要办个狼人，对不对？但是，
哎，果然
啊，
对，
这边
我在想这边
精灵还是蓝胖，
蓝胖走起。
我不知道他会不会打提前量，蓝胖精灵都有可能，但是这个
提前量
是狼人。
你说这
先把狼人点了，对，
先点狼人，
就这手就直接点。哦。因为精灵和蓝胖你让他办啊，他办了我有代替品，而且他不一定会办。
当然他应该还有其他代替吧，什么军团之类的，对面这个双无视魔免控，你军团能用。牛啊！好，你跟巴玩，
毕竟是老队友啊，
我觉得。
The Tiny with the Lycan, they know this better than anybody else. They have played the Tiny Lycan versus Secret the other day and against the Secret Mag, and they made it work. Today, Team Spirit, they played versus the Secret Tiny with the Mag, and they won. Yeah. But, you know, is 𝙎𝙊𝘾 better at executing it than Secret? Maybe they are. You know, you can only assume. This game will tell.
Yes, we learned firsthand about the 𝙎𝙊𝘾 Lycan Tiny very early on before we got to TI, and this strategy, when you see it for the first time, you're like, oh boy, this reminds you of some of the other broken strats that you see come up around TI. And I mean, it's nice. It's amazing that we get this in the game 5, and then somebody is manning up to 𝙎𝙊𝘾 saying, we're giving you your best strat, and we're gonna beat you. And
this is the team that Theory crafted it. You know, they are the inventors of Tiny and Tiny Lycan. It's scary to go up against it, and I like the Team Spirit confidence. They're getting their Collapse Magnus. One thing that has to be said is 𝙎𝙊𝘾 is getting banned. Like, this is gonna be Collapse Magnus at its prime, or it should be, right? Because so far 𝙎𝙊𝘾, they have countered it with the 𝙎𝙊𝘾. They understand how to break this cure action. Are they gonna get the tools that they need in order to break this cure? We're yet to see. I think that's one of the kind of storyline of this draft. Miposhka Bane has been incredibly good. We saw also Bane dominate the game 4 for 𝙎𝙊𝘾. Bane versus Tiny, extremely interesting matchup. Why is that? Because Enfeeble actually reduces attack damage for 60%. It's really big. Tiny plays on the space damage. Actually, a Tiny that goes on somebody while being Enfeeble does ridiculously low damage, actually. It does counter him. It's a hero that's very undervalued, in my opinion, against Tiny. Of course, Bane into Lycan, it can be a little bit scary, but yet again, this is all about, this strategy, this Tiny strategy, is all about getting this Tiny to kind of a critical mass that nothing can deal with.
I do think that you'll eventually get some plays, or if we're going to see it, and we're going to see it executed really well, you're also going to see the Lycan vision being used, and Lycan versus Bane, Lycan versus Mag, it's a lot about the vision. Ideally, 𝙎𝙬𝘾, they get to start the fight, either through the Tiny Shadow Blade or Bling, or something else, you know. Tinker fits well in these kind of drafts, because you have the Lycan to enable you, and if you have a good lane, you can also have a stable game, and now your scaling is unreal. This is something that I think Team Spirit should keep in mind. They should keep in mind these Tinkers, they should keep in mind their best heroes, and also for them, what are we going to do against this Tiny now? Are we trying to push him out of his comfort zone, play on early timings before he gets bitten and 20-minute shard and all those things? Or are we actually going to try to pick this Nyx, Ursa? I saw Ursa ban. Are they going to pick a hero like Faceless Void with the Mag to try and take these fights later on against this monster?
Which style do you think is a better counter to the Tiny Lycan? Because this combo has run rampant during TI.
I'm in the Tiny boat. I am very much in the Tiny boat.
It's too much.
This is an Angel Arena hero. No. This is not a Dota hero.
You have to beat it before it hits its timings. Nothing beats it. Like, at least that's our read. Is like, you will not scale into this. It's not going to happen. If especially against 𝙎𝙬𝘾, they understand the timings. They're going to push it at the perfect time. They will not lose. They're not going to waste a single second in this game. As soon as they have the upper hand, they will push it. They will end the game. You have to beat it before, and you can. This Tiny doesn't Like he actually he mechanically cannot play quicker than the 20 minutes. It's just a Dota mechanic. He cannot buy the shard before minute 20.
I would argue there's a Shadow Blade timing that changes a little bit because he actually can defend this tower, surprise you, get solo kills. But other than that, like you still want to abuse him because with this naked Shadow Blade or with something else like that, like one slow, one spell, you're at risk of dying and getting dragged into a bad fight.
Okay.
They're just going for it. They're picking all three of the cores in a row.
I'm not so sure it's a core. I mean, it might be. It might very well be.
You think it's a support Kunkka maybe?
I'm not sure. I think it's very scary to pick the Kunkka like that. They maybe have a read where...
I think it's a stabilizing thing for them. I think they're actually so confident that this hero is not losing mid and is going to stabilize the mid game and the early game through his both fights. That will be my read on it.
I mean, I see it. It is indeed probably the best hero to stabilize the game for the Tiny Lycan because the holes of Tiny Lycan is... It's the first pick Tiny, it's the first phase Lycan. Like these heroes are gonna be, they should be punished on lanes. They should be punished in the game. You're just announcing, hey, this is a Tiny Lycan game. You know, so of course the Team Spirit is gonna try to abuse that. So these heroes are gonna have to, somebody's gonna have to make space for them. You know, you want to consider that they're not gonna have the perfect Tiny Lycan game or the opposing team kind of messed up the draft. So Kunkka is here to help them stabilize. You know, Kunkka's a great laner. The bolt is good in every game in the early fights and whatnot. So this could explain why they feel like we need to get our hands on this Kunkka, especially because the hero that they might pick later is gonna get counterpicked anyway.
Didn't they only pick Yatoro's hero in the last 2 games that they lost early? Now they're again going back to picking his very late.
Yeah, and it makes sense with what a hero pool he's displayed on the main stage.
I'm just wondering what he's going to be playing now with all these bans that are coming out for him. Like the heroes that I think, if they ban the Faceless Void now, I wonder what he's going to look at with this mag versus this Tiny.
So with these 8 heroes picked, which side do you favor going into these final picks?
I'm on the Tiny boat.
Yeah.
Just a Tiny boat?
Tiny Lycan boat.
If you want to break this Tiny, you have to abuse the fact that he comes online late. I mean, everything is relative, but he comes online post minute 20. Yeah. Same for the Lycan. He should have a bad lane. He's buying Axe, so all the gold that he builds towards this Axe is useless. Lycan with 3k gold or just with the blade and the staff of wizard, like it does nothing. When the Axe comes and the shard comes, this is when the power spike is crazy. But before that, these are 2 heroes that are actually really bad at fighting. They're really bad at, at stunning, at catching. They don't do much, and I think you have to use that opening. But so far, I think the Spirit heroes, I don't know if they truly do that.
And if you think about it from that perspective, I feel like Kunkka and Skywrath, you're trying to run at them, hit that strong timing, but they have the potential to burst anyone. Yeah. And you have some Bane saves, some Winter Wyvern save, but it might not be enough for Skywrath.
And I also think the Skywrath was a preemptive pick for Toronto to Tokyo. Or if he wasn't going to play Invoker, which was not banned, then the Skywrath Silence is always good against the Spirits. And I think they picked this knowing what's coming, knowing what this Dota game is already kind of shaping out to be. So I think it was also a good pick to, now you see this Ember, you see this Byron, and you actually see the Skywrath value that's going to happen in these early fights. It could happen.
To me, I feel like there's a hole though in LGD's draft in the sense that you pick Lycan into Mag Wyvern and you pick Tiny into Mag Wyvern, and Mag Wyvern, they have really good plays against that. And when they played against Secret, they did play the same lineup. They played Tiny Lycan into Mag Wyvern, and they had a Puck and a Phoenix, which are heroes that excel at messing with the backline. They stopped the Bane and the Wyvern and the Mag from pressing the spell how they want to. I see a hole in the sense that Kunkka and Skywrath, they don't do that. This Wyvern is going to have free fights. Same for the Mag, same for the Bane, and that worries me a lot. For LGD, I think the fights are going to be much harder, and we saw Secret today, and I think the whole in their draft, they had a Shadow Demon and the Lina with the Mag, with the Tiny and the Lycan, and these heroes don't really complement. They don't counter what counters the Tiny Lycan.
Yeah. Something I want to mention actually is that they picked Meg and they banned Rubicon to protect it. I think this Kunkka pick actually came because X has a similar function. Like if Magnus gets a skewer and you X and redirect him, or you X your ally, you can stop that skewer play from coming in.
That's quite interesting. Yeah, you can actually X the Tiny. Yep.
We also see Enchantress coming in. I think this hero, they have this slow lineup, but something you can do is you can play really aggressive early with Enchantress. There's double range supports and a Magnus. This hero can actually snowball this game.
Yeah,
it definitely can.
I like these types of Dota drafts. I really like these drafts that are a bit lackluster too. Like I'm a big fan of Skywrath, especially back in the day, but there's a big hole, which is your AoE, your team fight, your ability to fight into them. Oh, TB, the draft, okay. But still, they're banking everything on this Christmas tree wolf that's going to happen at some point, and it breaks the whole game, and this is also the Ench is just here to help that happen, to make that happen.
it really seems like 𝙎𝙊𝘾 doubled down on the we are going to secure the strongest 20-minute timing.
Yes.
And Team Spirit, I actually think that 𝙎𝙊𝘾 is on a timer. If they cannot enforce this 20-minute timing and snowball the game, this is when the Wyvern, the TB, the Magnuses, they will scale greatly. So it's going to be down to can 𝙎𝙊𝘾 execute their best strategy.
Yeah.
That's an exciting matchup for Game 5 of the finals because 𝙎𝙊𝘾, like, you look at them throughout the tournament, they've always been hitting their timings. You look at Spirit, they've been breaking teams at what they do best. And now we have the Game 5 where they're matching up here.
I want to see Jules, I want to see a way to stop this Cure. Collapse has proven you cannot play against his Magnus if you don't have ways to deal with this Cure. 𝙎𝙊𝘾, they don't really have that. I feel like both teams got very powerful tools. It's kind of scary.
You think you're going to see the X mark? I can see it.
It's harder than the Rubik one. Like,
I think it's
half time, but I think it might happen. Even if you have to go high ground, X the Tiny, you hit the tower.
But then you have to create the situation where the Tiny is getting something done. You know, in the mid game and stuff, it's not the same. It's exciting. Both teams have great tools to take it home.
Last time Psg played Vyron, he owned the game.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy. I mean, that's what we wish for. It's like, can both teams get a solid draft? Can they get their comfort? They did. We're in for a treat.
So who do you guys think the most important hero on 𝙎𝙊𝘾 is for them to hit their timing? Like, whose early game matters the most?
Obviously the 𝙎𝘾𝘄, and I would also say the supports will have a huge part to play. The 𝙎𝘾, the Tiny, they still have roles to play in the early game. Everybody does, and if you can help negate pressure, if you can get that random support kill, if they're doing something illegal in your jungle or kill the wave with your hero, then sure. But if 𝙎𝘶 is owning and the Skywars having a good game, they can make so much happen together.
And for the Team Spirit side, do you think there's anyone who can sort of stop that onslaught early?
They're going to look at the Ember.
Yeah.
Ember. Everybody's looking at Ember for this match. Yeah.
It has to be the Ember.
And now we're going to the game of Tier 10. Before we go into game, we'll be coming to Sumi with Team Spirit's coach Salam.
Sin's expectation. Prepare for battle!
Thank you very much, Sumi. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the deciding Game 5 here at the TI10 Grand Finals. Team Spirit against Psg.Lgd. I'm idPixel, joined, of course, once again by the fabulous Insania.
30 seconds to battle!
What have we got in front of us here? What have we got in store for us this game, Aiden?
Man, what a crazy game. I think the last game was very, very much in 𝙎𝙊𝘾's favor straight from the draft. I think this is really even, and I completely agree with what Seb had to say, where I think both teams have different things going for themselves. I think if this game does scale up, if it goes very slowly, if the 20-minute timing from the Tiny isn't abused, then 𝙎𝙊𝘾's draft is going to just lack in power as the game scales up. I'm a little bit worried about how much the impact the Sky, 𝙎𝘶, Enchantress combo can have together around the map, and how well Team Spirit will be able to shut it down. I think runes, just like Silence said, luck, you know? And I don't think he was joking. Luck really does matter. If they get those power runes, it's going to be huge for them.
I mean, we saw as well from Spirit the sort of the very carefree attitude it worked out at the start of this series. I've been asked before the first game, you know, how the preparation was. Silence said, well, we didn't get to do much at all. We're just turning up to play and have a bit of fun. That fun certainly looked to be effective in Game 1 and Game 2, but Game 3 and Game 4, as we've just seen, Psg.Lgd, they have stepped it up. They've hit back hard. And now is the time to see if they can continue on the road to the reverse sweep, or Team Spirit can find that magic that was getting them through the first two games of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be a battle of the mid laners come after laning phase. I think the laning phase is probably going to be fairly even. Both heroes will farm fairly well, but that 6-minute rune, Owen, I think whoever gets that 6-minute rune actually has a massive edge in this game, because they're going to get to decide what happens, and the other team has to respond.
Absolutely. We've seen the importance of those timings, those power runes already many times in the series, many times in the tournament itself. Both teams will fully be aware of this, and we'll see a lot of focus around that first spawn. Looking at the side lanes here, getting into the action. Who's having the rough time here in the early game?
I actually think most lanes are just going to be fairly farmy. The top side of the map, I think, is probably where you're going to see the most kind of action. There's a little bit of threat from the tiny edge to potentially make some sort of kill move. But I really think it's right now, you know, you want to get as much farm as you can out of the lanes before the supports have to rotate out. So I expect all 6 cores of this game to have a fairly decent start.
All right, well, we'll see if there's going to be any slip-ups in the laning stage.
Yeah, it's very even so far.
Mid lane. 11 for 1 against the 8 for 0. Of course, 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼 taking quite the hit from the Tidebringers. But nothing to say. Bottom lane, 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼. It's a little low here, but into the trees he goes. A TP away just in time before 𝙈𝙁 is able to hunt him down.
Yep, so the Metamorphosis has been popped, but they have link control up top. And the advantage of having link control is that TB can't really run you down with his ranged attack the way he wants to. So not the ideal position for this meta to be used. If you're able to use it right outside of your own tier 1 tower, you can kind of zone out any other hero to come into the lane. But Faithbeyond's doing just fine during this meta.
𝙈𝙀 trying his best to get 𝙎𝙀𝘶 away from Terrorblade. Keep that area safe for 𝙈𝙁.
Yeah, nothing to say is doing very well mid. I'm a little bit surprised at this. He's almost a full creep wave ahead.
I'll see the courier taken out up top. Mirror continuing to trade as best they can here with white.
Yeah, doing a good job making sure this top hard camp is blocked. Oh,
they're going to try to move up. I mean, Collapse has hit the level 3. See if he's got enough lockdown and damage to take this kill, and yes, he does. At the same time in the mid lane, 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼 very low there. Has to get out of the range of a potential Tidebringer. He will, but there we have it. First blood up top. Good quick read from Spirit there as soon as they knew that they had the setup and the level 3 on Magnus.
Yeah, this mid lane is going excellently for nothing to say. 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄 here has a hard choice of do I go for the bounty rune or do I stay in the lane and try to farm? Ooh, nice sleight of fist. Dodges off the torrent. But yeah, overall, I think very stable lanes all around. TB Lycan about even. Mid lane is really the only outstanding lane so far to me.
Sure, and we know how scary nothing to say can get when he has a start like this. The setups that he'll be able to offer to the team, they're going to be huge, and a fair bit of damage to follow up each and every time that nothing to say gets a catch.
Yeah, and 𝙈𝙀 really on top of refilling the bottle, right? You see 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄 is not quite getting the same support mid, and that's because their heroes are forced to stay in their lanes right now. They can't really move their pieces on the map. And already winning the lane, getting that free bottle refill, he's going to be able to steal the small camp away from Ember. This is huge. Nothing to say is off to a great start in this Game 5 of the Grand Final.
And it's very hard for 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄 to do too much about it. Of course, Kunkka early on. Lots of HP, he's not going to be too scared of being burnt down by the Ember at the early levels.
Yep, and up top you see, like, this is generally how the early game is developing in this Grand Final, where the Tiny gets the 1 versus 1 lane against the Mag because there's no real kill threat. Neither side can really pressure each other too much, and the two supports are kind of battling it out in the jungle. Here we go, Collapse is really far up into the lane. This could be a lot of pressure.
See Mirror. Back at his side though, in case 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝑗 and white find the connection.
I feel like the one small edge Psg.Lgd has had in this Grand Final is they're able to keep their safe lane really close to their tower constantly. They're not losing lane control on their safe lane. And it's allowing for them to have very good creep equilibrium, and that then in return makes Collapse forced to play much safer.
Oh, see Mirror not quite able to close the gap on the courier. Has left Collapse rather on his own. Nice little circle around the tree line will keep Collapse away from the two of them.
He's actually a player that very often manages to get these jukes where he kind of takes a route that people don't expect him to and gets out of these tricky situations. Wonder if he can get out now though. Wise on top of him. He has a slow.
It's a fair bit of damage. Does still have the skewer for a follow-up impetus, or the combo of 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝑗 can close in on him.
Yep, Faithbeyond getting initiated on bottom. Fly's used, meta's used, but immediate TP out. Again, great presence of mind. You can tell why these players are in the Grand Finals. They're not giving anything away for free. It's not like neither team's attempting to make moves. It's just both teams are really on top of it. As mid.
See the setup here with the combo. Nice dodge. Flies off to the side here, 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼. In fact, over in the triangle, they are able to catch out. Oh, in fact, well, he did deny the bounty ring, but it will cost him his life. Coming over for that one there, as Team Spirit were prepared for that move.
Yeah, and Toronto Tokyo picks up the illusion rune there. So a little bit of miscoordination there. I think if you time that Ancient Seal a bit better, generally speaking, you know, you're going to use the X into Torrent. If you get the silence after the Torrent goes off, then the potential to get the boat in is there. And I think if they did the combo that way, they might have gotten the kill. But of course, the fear of Ember potentially dodging the Torrent with a slight forced them to use it too early.
Yeah, now they've sort of shown their hand mid. It's going to be hard for them to make that play again. Top lane, the Nightmare set up onto 𝙈𝙀. Collapse. It's got enough damage. Doesn't look like quite. The Shockwave will miss. Still trying to chase down 𝙈𝙀, but the Shockwave and Skewer already expended. There's no further threat here against the Tiny. 𝙈𝙀 is going to be fine.
That's good pressure though. They force them off of the lane. They finally have managed to get lane control up top, and immediately when they get it, they have the opportunity to pressure the Tiny. So force them off the wave, force them to go into the jungle, and he doesn't have any sustain, right? So he's going to have to spend gold on getting some extra regen.
They're going for him early on here with the three of them surrounding the Terrorblade. 𝙎𝙁𝘼 is trapped in the trees. The moves from the supports of Psg.Lgd start to come in. See the counterplay attempted. Set up with the Nightmare, but the TP's already coming over for nothing to say. He'll be ready to fight if Team Spirit push any further, and they won't. They'll respect the potential of a backup coming in for 𝙈𝙀. They step away to not be caught out by the combo of the 𝙈𝘾𝙄.
Yeah, Battle of the Power Rune now resumes. It's about 30 seconds left, so both teams probably talking about which supports can we bring to the runes, who can be there in time to help out. One haste, one DD, it can change the flow of the game entirely.
Toronto Tokyo also just sort of cutting the wave, maybe getting the momentum of the mid lane in such a state that he'll have that ability to check the rune, but yeah, Psg.Lgd just fully on it.
DD, it's a big rune. This allows you now to have the damage to potentially burst a hero that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. And bottom lane, Faithbeyond's really trying to pressure this tower. And now that he's forced out the Arctic burn from 𝙈𝙀, 𝙈𝙀 has to be very safe. He can't really sit there and be as annoying anymore and just continuously nuke the creeps. So expect this bottom tower to start falling. Meanwhile, top, 𝙈𝙀 is doing a great job of just defending.
He is. He's clearing out the wave, holding off the pressure. Something that Team Spirit can't quite do themselves here down bottom. Faithbeyond.
So here, it's an important smoke here that 𝙈𝙀 are doing. They recognize that 𝙈𝙀 is going to sit at the tower. The Radiant team can't really defend their own bottom tower. So what are they going to do? They're going to mirror your play. They're going to go and attempt to take the top lane tier 1 tower. So the smoke up here, it's a preemptive move in case Team Spirit tries to do something. But Spirit reads it perfectly. They are aware.
And making sure not to get caught out by these early moves as Psg.Lgd do start to slowly ramp up an early gold advantage. Now hitting the 1k lead, they'll be able to catch themselves. A lonely Bane in the river, Mira.
Yeah, and 𝙎𝙁 actually gives his position away. He used the reflection there, so now they know the Terrorblade's in the triangle. And you can look bottom, Faithbeyond has absolutely no fear. There's no hero that can gank him in any shape, way, or form. So he's off to a really, really good start. And when we talked about the strat coming into it, it's all about timings, right? So you want, ideally, for him to finish up his Helm of the Overlord and the Aghanim Scepter before 20 minutes. And if the game continues the way it is right now, it's highly likely to happen.
Double damage.
I'm a Spirit. I do want to try and put the pressure up top. Try and push 𝙈𝙀 out of this top area of the map. See in the mid lane. Going for the catch, but again, Toronto Tokyo fully prepared.
Yep.
Well out the way.
Spirit are aware that the boat was used and that top tower is very unlikely to be defended.
It's hard for them to get on top of 𝙈𝙀. Again, playing smart with the Avalanche, putting a stop to the combo. And now time's been bought for Psg.Lgd to come around. 𝙎𝙁 immediately out with the TP. Doesn't want to be around here anymore. Mira will get found in the trees though. Another death here on the Bane as Psg.Lgd continue to fight back against Spirit's attempts to get something done whilst the pushes are coming in elsewhere from Psg.Lgd there. Definitely getting a little bit more done in this first 10 minutes.
Yep, they absolutely are. And Purge Creep here on the Lycan. This allows you to take away the level 4 Flame Guard from the Ember, which is his major fighting tool right now in the early game. So that gets purged, immediately back off. This tower is gone.
Oh, look at this timing here. 10 minutes, a second tier 1 tower. They're playing it fast, Psg.Lgd.
Yeah, 𝙈𝙀 have the entire map to play with right now. They're controlling the entire... It's basically wherever they want to go, whoever they want to kill is an option for them. And Team Spirit, they just have to try to play this map split game where they're dragging the Psg.Lgd heroes around and trying to get 𝙎𝙁 to farm safely behind everybody else.
We're going to see with the space the Collapse has got. He's going to have a good timing here on the Blink Dagger. I mean, how proactive do you expect to see them be here with this blink pickup? Is it an immediate smoke and an attempt for a kill?
I think very likely they're going to try to make some counter move, where like they try to set up a play where they expect �12𝘆𝑔d to do something and they know where their heroes are going to be, and then they're set up ready to take that fight. I don't really expect them to make some aggressive smoke, most likely around some enemy tower or in order to defend one of their own.
See just this constant micro here.
Oh my god, Faith_Beyond's being so annoying. Toronto Tokyo's trying to farm jungle with his flame guard, but he's just purging it off every single time.
And he's taking all the camps himself, Faith_Beyond here with the wolves.
Yeah, and it's a tough position to if you're Team Spirit. You've really drafted this like very late game heavy draft. You know it's going to take a long time for you to come online. I think if you see a team like OG play December Spirit, he probably would have gone for more of a slight chain build and try to make moves, try to set up tempo, and try to break up the pace of the game. But Toronto Tokyo opted to go for the more farm heavy route. So their draft is going to come online much later than Psg.Lgd's, and that's why they're allowed to dominate the early game the way they have been.
Well, nothing to say. He wants to set up in the mid. Arcane Rune in the bottle, full armlet. On top of the phase, very tanky 𝙎𝘊𝘾𝙄𝘼 this early on, and a lot of damage to dish out.
Yep. And if we take a look at the vision game, which we've been talking about so much during this series, because it's just so important, you notice you have the scouting wolves from Faith_Beyond, so there's extra 2 wards basically. Are running around the map and providing vision for �12𝘆𝑔d. And then on top of that, the Team Spirit wards are so defensively placed. They're right outside of their own towers, protecting their triangle and protecting their tier 2 bottom tower. So it's not really giving them any information about what's going on in the game. They don't really see any heroes on these wards. Whilst �12𝘆𝑔d feel very comfortable moving around the map. So vision superiority definitely in favor of �12𝘆𝑔d. They understand what's going on the game right now much better than Team Spirit does. Team Spirit's playing exclusively off of game sense.
You can see the confidence from Psg.Lgd because of that. Vision control. Smoke ups, they swing through the triangle here of Team Spirit. See if Spirit gets caught out on the top. They don't. �12𝘆𝑔d knows to back off.
Sniffs it out. �12𝘆𝑔d's so good at sniffing it out, I feel like.
Yeah, and he's made the call for Collapse to back off as well. They're both out of it.
Yeah, and this is purely a game sense read. This is him looking at the minimap, understanding what �12𝘆𝑔d is doing, and responding to it perfectly. There was no information of that play coming. Wonderfully done. There's a little bit of a play attempt set up in the bottom lane. But they just don't have the damage.
It's hard just with the 2 of them. Not a job for the supports alone.
But look at �12𝘆𝑔d. He's making his way over.
Maybe with the Terrorblade and the Metamorphosis, they could get the damage done if they get a grip onto �12𝘆𝑔d. He is tanky though, 2.4. 2,400 HP. He's got the Echo Saber, the treads. See if they can do it. Nightmare setup. Instantly TPs are coming in. See if they can do the damage quick enough. �12𝘆𝑔d focusing down with the Metamorphosis and the illusions. They'll be able to take it. They kill off �12𝘆𝑔d. Mystic Flare's coming in, but �12𝘆𝑔d is able to sidestep it. Psg.Lgd, can they get a grab in return? Nothing to say. Trying to charge in. See Mirror head into the trees, trying to distract them from the rest of them. But here comes the micro from White.
Nice.
He's able to lock down �12𝘆𝑔d here with a setup from the Centaur. Drag back into the combo. He'll try his best to break the combo. Nothing to say here with the curse thrown out �12𝘆𝑔d. But he will still end up going down. Still though, Spirit, they'll take that. They got in, they're able to take �12𝘆𝑔d off the map. �12𝘆𝑔d is able to continue to farm here with the benefit of Collapse and the Empower.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But they did use both the Lycan Form and the boat. And if we think about how �12𝘆𝑔d wants to play this game, it's important for them to have their cooldowns to get big kills or get big moments. While Team Spirit are... Every time nothing's happening in the game, they feel like they're getting ahead. They feel like they're progressing their game. And that's exactly what's going on now, right? They know there's no Lycan Form, there's no boat, there's no team fight that's going to happen in the next 2 minutes. And they're very happy about that.
Yeah, we're seeing as well Toronto Tokyo able to silently play his game here. He's been getting a lot of space. You see already with this time, with the first time pick up the Yules, he's already rather hard for Psg.Lgd to catch. He's got the Javelin on his way towards the Maelstrom. So his game, his farm, certainly going to be picking up pretty soon here. We'll see if Psg.Lgd are able to find any more action to keep this league going. �12𝘆𝑔d in the neighborhood, ready to brawl in the jungle of Spirit. If Spirit give it to them, but so far in this game 5, Spirit, they've returned to sort of that fantastic ability to read the moves and just avoid any sort of engagement that is not preferable for them to be involved in.
Yeah, and I think when you're playing some sort of like Enchantress Skywrath type draft, you want to be getting kills right now. You want to be punishing them. And if you look at the graphs, it's been about a 2 to 3k lead for most of the game. They're not really progressing on �12𝘆𝑔d's side. Yes, they're ahead, but they're not getting more ahead. And with their style of draft, you want to be getting more ahead as the game progresses. So it's looking like that 20-minute timing really is going to be everything for them.
Absolutely, especially now with the Shadow Blade done on 𝙈𝘀𝘆. I mean, he is ready to be an incredible killer at this stage, of course. The power of the Tiny, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I think the two supports from Team Spirit are going to be really, really important for this upcoming team fight, because if Bane is able to get a grip on the Tiny for long enough for TB to take good positioning and output damage, that might just be enough for them to win the game. If this Tiny goes down, Psg.Lgd's draft has nothing. It's all about 𝙈𝘆𝘆.
This time around, Mira and 𝑚iposhka having collapsed by their side. 𝙈𝘆𝘆. He's just got himself 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 behind him. Something with the Shadow Blade in preparation to clear out the wave. We'll see if Spirit hang around to try and hunt him down.
Yeah, 𝑚iposhka with the read. He does have a sentry. Oof. Looks like he might have ran up with that wave if 𝙈𝘆𝘆 had just been slightly more patient. So if we take a look at items, you see the Winter Wyvern's building the blink. He understands one good curse, you know? It's all about getting the one good spell off. So having the positioning, staying back, and then blinking at the right moment, that's going to be what he's going for. And they're giving him space, right? They're letting 𝑚iposhka sit down here to try to finish up the blink. They understand how important this is.
Absolutely. It's going to be huge, these curses, against a lineup where you're running these 3 melee cores that want to be charging in at you. Absolutely possibilities for a huge turnaround Winter's Curse to come out in these team fights.
Yeah, there definitely is. And if you look at 𝙈𝙁, he's building up for that Eye of Skadi. He wants to be tanky enough to tank the damage and then potentially get a Sunder off. That's going to be this big game for him. If he's able to stand his ground with Skadi and the Tiny initiates on anything but him, he might just be able to be tanky enough to stay alive. The one person who's really not getting any farm in this game right now is Collapse. He's kind of understood that, you know what, I'm just going to get my shard, and I'm going to be happy with that. If I can have it by 20 minutes, that's everything I need.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen before from Collapse how much he can get done with limited resources. This man's Magnus, certainly something to be feared. Something that got tripped up in the game, of course, where 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 had the Rubik to deal with it. Something that isn't, of course, here this time round. So a bit more free of a game for Collapse to make his moves occur.
Yeah, I feel like both teams are just waiting for this 20 minutes. I mean, if the pacing keeps going like this, I mean, 𝙎𝙆𝑔d is going to hit their timing, and then you really got to look at that team fight. The nice thing about having so much time right now is I expect Team Spirit to be really ready for that fight when it comes. But look at this. 𝙎𝙆𝑔d are going to try to make a move right before it.
Yeah, here they go. Ancient Thunderhide leading the charge. Of course, we'll be spotted out here by Spirit. They'll know that there's likely going to be some action following it.
Great read from Spirit again. And look up top, 𝙎𝙁𝑅's just farming. 5 heroes committed down here for 𝙎𝙆𝑔d, but 𝙎𝙁 has the space that he wants.
Can they get a grab underneath the tier 2 tower? 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼, nothing to say, they're going to try. Collapse, he's going to go with the RP just onto 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘄𝑼, drag the Scarab underneath the tower. We'll lose the wave in turn, but 𝙎𝙁𝑅's ready to turn up the grips there. They've clawed, nothing to say, underneath the tower. 𝙎𝙁𝅆's bid this off for Namo. Slide of Fist comes out, and they're looking to turn on, and nothing to say, they get him. Jump over the Remnant, he's looking for more. Trying to go in with the chains. Onto both Y and 𝙈𝘆𝘆𝑚 goes down. Y and 𝙎𝑃𝑅 lost your life, but not for long. That Shockwave claims the life of the Enchantress. The Spirit of Collapse will end up dying here to the Thunderhide of 𝙎𝑃𝑅, but of course that will also get claimed by 𝙎𝙁𝑅, and more money for them on the defense. An aggressive dive underneath the tier 2 tower. But as we said, the turnaround, it's absolutely there. 𝙎𝙁𝅆 is able to get involved, and Psg.Lgd, they get punished.
Yeah, beautifully done by Team Spirit. But keep in mind, RP was expended, Metamorphosis was, and Roshan's available too. So huge rune, Arcane rune for Ember. This could be a game-winning rune for him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think once we see that Lycan form come up, expect them to make some kind of move. Actually, Tang's missing 1,000 gold for his shard, so probably not going to be able to use his timing. So great fight for Spirit all around. Like, proving that they can kill the Tiny is huge for them.
I mean, 𝑚iposhka's maybe even already leading into more action. He's got the Winter's Curse at the ready. Both Toronto, Tokyo, and Collapse up here ready to play around him as well.
Yep, 𝙎𝑃𝑅's about 1,000 gold away from the Ags.
Collapse, he's got that horn toss, he's got that set up. Quick catch and a drag back on to 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝑄𝑼, gets him in reach of the rest of the team. They've got to watch out for these pickoffs. This is something that Collapse was tearing them apart with earlier in the series.
Yep, and Collapse has recognized that, you know, the idea from 𝙎𝙆𝑔d here is to silence him when he blinks into Horn Toss. so he can't get the spear back. Very similar to how the Rubik functioned in the last game, but this time around they're just going to try to use this silence from Skywrath. So what does he do? He goes for the Sky. Great game understanding from Collapse.
Straight to the pit now as well. Even just with the one member down with no Sky, no 𝙎𝘊𝘾𝙄𝘼, it's still enough that Psg.Lgd feel that they cannot take this fight there. Letting this go to Spirit.
I feel like the pacing of the game right now, it really does favor Team Spirit. And they expect LGD to make some kind of move to try to break it up. I think they can't just let them farm out this 5-minute Aegis. Expect something to happen before that. Oh, it's such a calm before the storm kind of moment, I feel like. You see Toronto Tokyo is just slowly farming up his items. I mean, this Ember Spirit's been a beast this event, and he's only 1,000 gold off of his own Aghanims. And then after that comes a shard, and then there's just fire remnants everywhere.
And he hasn't been caught yet this game. 1-0-3. Struggled to contain Toronto Tokyo in this early stage. He's also going to have that DD rune ready for the next fight. Level 18, he's going to hurt. Some of these heroes on the backline, they're not going to stand much of a chance at all. 𝙎𝘊𝘾𝙄𝘼 and why? They better be pretty scared of Toronto Tokyo making the jump in on them.
Yeah, the positioning of the supports, it's really, I think, the story of this game, because both front lines are so tanky. I don't really think they're going to go down without the assistance of the supports from both sides. So 𝑚iposhka and Mira going up against Y and 𝙎𝑊𝘆𝑘𝑋. They both have very, very tough positions to be in. You're going to have Ember remnanting into your backline, chasing the Skywrath, chasing the Enchantress. And at the same time, if Tiny gets on top of you, you're just dead. If he gets eyes on you, you're gone.
And here's that time. So they've got the Aghs ready on Faith Beyond. Ready to make the move here, as you say. They don't want to be held back by the idea that Yatoro's got an Aegis. They want to fight regardless into it.
Yeah, they understand. If we wait too long, then Yatoro's going to be too strong. And here we go.
Here we go, 𝙈𝑚𝑒.
Oh, they see him.
Set up for success here. Looking towards Yatoro. And 𝑚iposhka, Toronto Tokyo, and Collapse setting up across the cliffside as Y will be the first to get poked upon. See how Team Spirit want to tackle this.
There's a DD
looking for options. Collapse, he's in, instantly caught out by the Ancient Seal, so no skewer to follow. Y
chains back up.
Is there anything they can do to save their Enchantress? I mean, does Y need saving at all? He's going to need to. As the Nightmare holds him back.
Yeah, Wolf Form both used on Lycan as well as Tiny. So this means full reset. Now Team Spirit are in control of the pace. They get to decide what happens in this game.
Yeah, they could push Aegis, Metamorphosis ready for use here. Tier 2s could be on the table for Team Spirit.
Looking for some kind of pickoff. They know LGD can't fight back if they get on top of their heroes right now.
They've got their eyes on mid. Yatoro starting to rack up the gold again after the 𝙎𝘆𝑘𝘄𝑚. 2,800. He's got that butterfly queued up, knows that they're not going to be wanting to pick up any sort of true strike anytime soon here on the heroes of Psg.Lgd. The evasion would be huge.
I wonder if it's enough though. I like the idea of the Satanic more. Yeah, he's going for the Satanic. I really like this, because if he can survive the Tiny combo, if he can get through it, you can purge off the silence from the Skywrath, you can get one hit off and then Sunder.
Yeah, the Dispel's beautiful.
I mean, if you're a Team Spirit fan, you're very happy with the pacing of this game. You saw LGD being unable to use their first timing of the game to really do anything. So if this keeps happening like 2-3 more times, then you're in the late game. And boy, are Team Spirit geared up to take that late game.
Ready with the setup top. Toronto Tokyo, Invis rune. Ready to go. See if he can get a surprise jump onto Psg.Lgd. Y? It's the closest right now. It's just the two supports playing up here, really. Putting themselves in the most dangerous position whilst the cores are able to farm on the safer side of the map.
I think Team Spirit are going to look for some sort of smoke for this bottom triangle ward. This is a ward that they usually fight around when they have it, so let's see what they do. It looks like they're moving over. Gem on 𝑚iposhka. They understand the importance of the vision this game. And there's no tombstone this time, right? They don't have that kind of teamfight vision tool on Team Spirit as they did, or sorry, on LGD as they did in the previous 2 games. Now they're relying on the wolves. So having the gem secures you that there's no wolves on top of you. They don't see where you're moving. They don't know what's going on. So great item pickup by 𝑚iposhka, understanding the importance of it. It's a tense game.
I mean, No, the Team Spirit's got the solid jump, but Psg.Lgd, they've got the hard hit. If they can get in with the tiny wolf, we're going to see Collapse come in. He's in with the horn toss, he's going to look to separate. Nothing to say for the rest of the team. Feed Scrub as well, locking down the Kunkka. They get the quick grab, nothing to say, out for a minute.
10 seconds on the Aegis, and once again the wolf forms are used, but Am is deciding to retreat. They don't see the opening they want. There's no buyback on the Kunkka.
Yeah, it's hard to fight with one of their most farmed cores right now in the game. They need them all up, really, to tackle Team Spirit head on. Bit of timing left on the Metamorphosis, so Team Spirit, they can push on. 26 minutes in, starting to take down this tier 2 tower.
Ooh, quick fingers. Jumped away from the stun of the Tiny.
The fortification is soon to be coming to an end. You see Spirit, they're happy to go for the dives behind the towers. 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄 is in, and he's found himself 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼.
Great recognition there. You know, Tiny initiates on you top. What does that mean? That means there's no heroes mid to fight. Immediately dives in. Wherever the Tiny is not, Team Spirit have massive freedom to make moves. The Tiny, it's really all about this Tiny. And 2 last wolf forms have not gone Psg.Lgd's way. I feel like the game is slowly swinging into Team Spirit's favor, and they're kind of getting past that impossible timing of fighting this Tiny.
Oh, Collapse! He's got another grab! Jumps in, one! He's gone!
Yeah, if you're Psg.Lgd right now, you really gotta try to find a way to catch Team Spirit off guard. But they have the gem. They're setting up their vision smartly. They're playing around where they can see the dire heroes. If you look at the minimap, look at where they're positioned. Bottom side of the map, 2 hill wards here to cover any sort of entrance that LGD try to make. So they're always aware of what's going on. Very smart positioning on the map here. Team Spirit recognize that as long as we just delay the game, we don't feed, we don't give away anything for free, we're in a good position. 𝙈𝙀𝘿𝘄𝘼 will carry us.
Never refuse gold given.
It's alright. In position now to maybe push down a threat in another tier 2 tower. I see the setup looking for 𝙈𝙀𝘄𝘼, but again, he senses something's up and they don't get that catch.
𝙈𝙀𝘄𝘼 now beating on the bottom tier 2 tower, doesn't get any sort of response. Means now they expect most of the LGD heroes to be on the top side of the map.
I mean, they've got Metamorphosis up in 10 seconds. Can they start to poke the high ground, or is... how aggressive do you want to get with these pushes?
It's a scary decision to make. I don't envy carry players that have to make this decision at this position in the game, but...
Are they going to make the call to commit? Metamorphosis is up for 𝙈𝙀𝘄𝘼. How hard does he want to push it into the base of Psg.Lgd? Doesn't look like they want to.
I think the idea here is to try to force the LGD heroes back into the base, so that they then can play around their own wards, and then potentially move over to the top side, remove any sort of vision that LGD has, and then get map control that way. And you know, with these illusions pushing safely, you force the response.
He looks for the jumper Collapse. He's not able to get the grab back on Nothing to Say. So Nothing to Say. He gives up a mirror, holding him for the longer of the feed. Gets cancelled by the avalanche. The Winter's Curse coming to a quick end. And Psg.Lgd now charging on the base. Bow comes crashing down onto Mirror. Ancient Seal for now onto 𝙈𝙀𝘄𝘼. He's looking to back up and reset inside the base. 𝙈𝙀𝘄𝘼. He's diving in past the tier 3s. He's able to take out Nothing to Say. Looking at Remnant over to the side. He's got his eyes over towards Y. Or maybe even more actually. He's holding on to that, not jumping back quite yet. As they've killed off 2. And with 2 dead, they may just have the room here to push up to the high ground. 𝙈𝙀𝘄𝘼, he's stepping up. Still a bit longer with the Metamorphosis left. They're taking this tier 3 tower. There's going to have to be buybacks. 𝙎𝙀𝘄 back into the game. But a tier 3 taken here. Some damage being done to the Rex as well. No Kunkka for 40 seconds.
Yeah, and no wolf fight.
Collapse. He finds a grab. Jumps in. Drags back on the Skyrap. No 𝙎𝙀𝘄. He's got for 70. Another man down on Psg.Lgd. Spirit. They'll keep the push going. And you've got to be careful, you know, Collapse is looking for another one. There it is, he's in, drag back on Y. He just can't stop finding them, Collapse. Every single time, pick off after pick off. You can't stand anywhere near Spirit.
No, you absolutely can't. And 𝙈𝙀𝘄𝘼's recognizing, you know, I don't have meta. I don't have my strongest spell, but neither do they. And he's just pushing it here. I think they're going to keep going for this buildings. They do not seem afraid. There's so much confidence right now in how they're playing. They get the buyback. He's the next one, but he's 3,000 HP.
So tanky. Sunder, Satanic at the ready if he ever feels threatened.
But look at this. LGD are coming in from behind. They recognize that they can't go on the front line. They need to catch the backline heroes.
They're going to try and go for the easy kill first, or at least the easier, maybe. But no, it's not. TP out there, able to stop it. 𝙈𝙀𝑖's in with the combo. They catch the Bane, they need more though, nothing to say in the team. Doesn't look like they're gonna get it. 𝙈𝙀𝘆's off into the trees, they won't be able to find him to stop that escape. Team Spirit, they take a Rex, they take a tier 3 in the mid lane, they only end up losing a Bane, pushing them up now to an 8k lead against Psg.Lgd.
Yep, and once again, both the wolf forms are expended, so you know what that means? Roshan's available, Metamorphosis is ready in 10 seconds, Team Spirit are gonna eye it up.
It's going to get even harder to deal with 𝙎𝙁 now. He's got the full Silver Edge done, so the ability to sort of duck in and out of the fights. He is going to be a right nightmare to deal with. We see 𝙈𝙀𝘆's farm not too far behind, but you definitely feel that at the moment, with the timings that they've hit, Spirit as a unit are so much harder to deal with than it is for them to take down Psg.Lgd.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's reflected in the way that 𝙈𝙀𝘆's playing, but he's about to get caught here in the top lane.
There's Collapse, in with the Horn Toss, dropping the RP. The BKB was out in time, he's into the invis, but the physical, is it going to be enough here from this Terrorblade? 𝙎𝙁 is focusing down 𝙈𝙀𝘆's trying to run, but he can't get away from him. 𝙈𝙀𝘆 out for 80. They're ready to chase for more Collapse, steering in to close the distance onto 𝙎𝙁. They've caught the Skyra, set up there as well with the cast, they're ready to close up onto 𝐵𝑃N as well. They're going for a third kill here, skewer from Collapse, back into the claws of Spirit.
Team Spirit has lasted through the hardest part of the game. Now, everything is theirs. They just need to play this calmly, don't overextend, recognize that as long as we play around our own timings, this game is firmly in our grip.
I mean, there's 3 dead. There's no buyback. It's only nothing to say. And why left here for the defense? As Team Spirit, they're under the tier 4s. They've got a fortification, but there's still those long seconds before they get their 2 claws back in the game, Psg.Lgd.
They're gonna have to try to do something. I don't think they have enough time to wait for Tiny to respawn.
See how carefully Team Spirit play it.
Goes back.
There's 20 seconds, no 𝙈𝙀𝘆. They can push. They can push this Spirit. They don't need a back. 20 seconds without 𝙈𝙀𝘆. They're gonna look for more grabs before they close it up. Jump ball for Collapse. 𝙎𝙁 goes down. Nothing to say as well. 𝐴𝑘, nothing to say, has a buyback. 8 seconds until 𝙈𝙀𝘆, but the Ancient, they're looking to close it up. They can taste the championship. They can taste the money, but the backdoor protection is in. The backdoor protection is in. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. Psg.Lgd, they'll start now to force Spirit back out the base. 𝙈𝙀𝘆 will get himself out with a blink. They just need to reset Spirit.
They're trying to get out. Faith Beyond's on top of Mira though.
They've got the curse. Holding back the 𝙈𝙀𝘆. Why? Being a bit of a nuisance off to the side. Impetus onto Mira, but why? Chased down by Collapse. 𝙎𝙁 have got him. 𝙈𝙁𝘆 low on mana. James holds it back, but now with the BKB 𝙈𝙀𝘆.
He has buyback though.
Straight back in with the Remnant. Gets instantly caught out with the Torrent. Got the silence as well. Jump forward. Collapse. BKB. Steal back. Into the clutch of the 𝙎𝙁. They're going to be able to look him down with the RP. Where's the detection? Where's the detection?
No detection.
They need to see him. They don't get to see him. 𝙈𝙀𝘆, he's going to live. He's going to turn towards Mira. He's still very low here. And then on slide chain, they get him. They finish him off. Oh, nothing to say.
What a TP.
What a TP. He's out. He's alive.
So, no buyback on Toronto Tokyo, no buyback on Faith Beyond,
boy.
no buyback on 𝙈𝙀𝘆.
Oh my goodness.
There is a Roshan.
There is.
Oh, I thought that was going to be it.
I mean, it was so close. But the backdoor protection kicks in. Psg.Lgd are able to pull together a defense. They lose their tier 4s. But the Ancient still stands.
Yep, Satanic used Sunder as well. You can feel the nerves. I can feel it. It's just so much on the line. Just one Sentry Ward could have won them the game there, but support's unfortunately not able to get into range.
Let's see what they can do around this pit. They're still down 16k Psg.Lgd, but they've got all their ults up. Can they make any sort of steal? They've already managed to set up here onto the Kunkka. They're going to go straight to it. 𝙎𝙁 coming in with a BKB. The Cars holds back 𝙈𝙀𝘆 on the side. Nothing to say. He's going to go down. Out for 110. 𝙎𝙁's ready to step over his next target. He's looking over towards 𝙈𝙀𝘆. Collapse. Popping the BKB. 𝙈𝙀𝘆 keeping himself alive with the cold embrace. Spirit. They'll turn over towards 𝙈𝙀𝘆, but 𝙈𝙀𝘆's still got the BKB to go. He's killed off another support. He's looking at Toronto Tokyo. Toronto Tokyo by the time of the ults. He's got another Remnant. Slide this into the Remnant of the high ground. He's away. Both teams again. Yeah, sneaking around under the cover of these Silver Edges. Watching one another.
Metamorphosis is out, but so is the 2 wolf forms. It's both teams taking it safe right now. But look at why. He's stuck on the cliff.
Why?
Dude, look at how carefully they're playing it. They're scared to walk up here and try to kill him.
Watch, like, oh, they got him.
There we go.
They'll take him off the cliff.
But look at Roche! Oh, Armin's killing Roche!
Oh, no, he can't do it, surely. Blink and time collapse. He's got his eyes on him, but still nothing to say or why for 50 seconds.
Armin's alone.
He's gone in alone. That was a risky move. He's got the back of a Jin Q. But Spirit, they're going to chase on. Slight chase. Armin is gone. 2 minutes, no Tiny. Ancient exposed. Spirit, they'll make the walk over towards the Ancient.
They're not waiting for the creeps.
They're ready to close it this time. Only 2 left. Can they stop at Psg.Lgd? I don't think they can. Jinky's got it over.
GG.
It's over. GG. They have done it. Team Spirit. They come into the grand finals. 2 games straight up. They take them away from Psg.Lgd. Game 3 and Game 4. Game 4. Psg.Lgd. They hit back. But the Game 5. Even though they get knocked out in 3 and 4, Spirit, they come back with the same skill and ability that's taken them this whole road to the grand finals. And what a road it has been. They take down Fnatic, OG, VP, IG, Secret, and now in a best of 5 at the grand finals, the International 10, they defeat Psg.Lgd. Arguably the favourites coming into the tournament.
Absolutely, and they don't just defeat any Psg.Lgd. They beat Psg.Lgd playing their best draft. This was all the heroes that Psg.Lgd wanted. Like Seb touched on, Lycan, Tiny, they invented this. This was the most dominant combo of this tournament, and they beat it. They figured out how to beat it, and they beat the best team at playing it.
I mean, it's insane as well. 4 of them... $1 million in Zania.
It's unbelievable. I know before this tournament, on a good day, if everything goes their way, maybe top 6. I never saw this coming. Not in a million years. What an unbelievable performance.
What a story, what a road, what a dream here that they've achieved. The Spirit, they'll claim the Aegis. Ladies and gentlemen, your International 10 champions, Team Spirit.